Morning.
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds sick.
Really?
Well, you've been sniffling. I've been sitting here listening to you sniffle for 5 minutes.
Huh.
That's why I asked.
It must be just, waking up morning. Maybe I need a big blow of the nose.
I also thought you were sick, for the record.
What?
That I also thought you were sick, for the record.
Huh. I'll be damned.
So I heard something yesterday watching the 4-Letter Network, and I just had NFL Live on in the background.
Oh, I thought it was the Lakers. I'm sorry.
No. I usually turn it on around 4 o'clock. So I'm done with my day, and I'll watch NFL Live just to see what's happened. Watch the ticker. David, I don't know who it was, so I can't reference it, which guy, but they started talking about quarterbacks in the Miami Dolphins. And the guy simply said that there's no quarterback who has more pressure on him this year than Tua Tagovailoa. And I immediately said, what about Aaron Rodgers? And it just got me to which 5 quarterbacks have the most pressure on them this season.
Huh. Okay.
Tua's definitely on the list. I think Dak's on the list.
I do too.
But I think Aaron Rodgers is number 1.
Why? He has a Hall of Fame career already. He could retire right now and it won't matter.
Anything less than a Super Bowl is a bust for him.
He already has
I don't know about bust.
He already has a Super Bowl. Tua Tagovailoa has a lot more to prove than Aaron Rodgers.
But I do
more
think
to prove, more pressure.
There's a lot of pressure in proving yourself.
Okay. I disagree with you wholeheartedly.
Okay.
Wow. It's a strong start to the show right there.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen. Paul, Baby Jules, AJC. Don't know if you caught all that. Thank you and hello again, everybody. What a beautiful day here at the ballpark in Southwest Florida. We're coming up later tonight. It's your mighty Manatees taking on the Bradenton Marauders. So the NHL released their schedule yesterday.
They did.
The Blackhawks are furious. Apparently, they're starting first 5 on the road. So it wasn't bad enough they fixed the lottery so they could get Bedard. Apparently, they wanted to be able to open at home. I'm sorry, you were one of the 5 worst teams in the league. Shut up. So Vegas, Monday night in October, the Raiders are hosting Monday Night Football. The next night, the hockey team is going to unveil the banner and open up with Seattle.
Staying in Vegas for the week, are you?
Well, I got to admit, I started to text around yesterday.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you, the final Wednesday of June in 2023. Hope your week is going well. Thanks so much for being with us. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Magic numbers 59, 64, 71. 8.5 weeks away from week 0. Notre Dame, USC amongst the 7 college football games that'll be played. If that doesn't wet your whistle, it's 9 weeks tomorrow night, baby. Gators in Utah, 8-point underdogs against the Utes. UCF is a member of the Big 12. We'll kick their season off as well. 9 weeks tomorrow. 10 weeks tomorrow, Lions, Chiefs. The NFL still hasn't changed that game. We all keep waiting. Like, wait, somebody made a mistake. They have the Lions as the season opening game. 71 days away. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good day yesterday. Any of these summer days, as I am Mr. Mom this time of year, spending time with my daughter has been a fun summer. Trying to crack down, getting her ready for the 4th grade.
Didn't realize there was a lot of prep involved in between 3rd and 4th.
Oh, nonstop.
Nonstop. What kind of drill sergeant boot camp are you running?
Well, we've got reading to do every day. We've already jumped into the 4th grade math workbooks, and she takes Spanish lessons twice a week.
Okay. What are you doing?
Supervising, David. I'm supervising.
Wow. Okay. Well, you're good at that. You're good at that. You're still taller than her, so you can tower over. You've got that intimidation factor. Still got the deep voice, So you got size, you got the voice, you got the look. So you still got that going for you, which is nice. All right. Wow. So reading every day, huh?
Every day for a half hour.
Well, she probably does it for about 3 hours, knowing her.
I would hope so.
If she does 3 hours on a Wednesday, is she good for the rest of the week or no?
No.
Unbelievable. You're one of those, huh?
Every day means every day.
Just 30 minutes, though, right?
30 minutes.
Okay. You're like that doctor that says, listen, you got to exercise every day. Well, what if I do an hour on the treadmill today? How about if I take tomorrow off? We'll call it even. What do you say?
I've taken tomorrow off way too much when it comes to the treadmill, David. That's for what I should be doing is having her read in the exercise room, and I should be on the treadmill while she's reading. Maybe that's what we start now.
Mark, I took yesterday off during the George W. Bush administration. I think I'm working on 19 years of taking yesterday off. So I want to get to 20 before maybe I change my behavior. Miller and Moulton on this Wednesday. How about the Marlins, baby? And this just in. He wasn't as dominant as last year, but their ace looked like a competent starting pitcher yesterday.
Yes, he did.
And all the guys they got back just started hitting. Man, this is getting frightening. They're starting to look good. I mean, they're almost making us believe. This is kind of like the Jags and the Lions last year. They were putting winning streaks together, 4 in a row, 6 out of 7, and we're like, yeah, I know, but have you heard the team name? They're the Jags and they're the Lions. I don't know if I can believe in them. Well, you can see it with your eyes. They look really good. No, they do. No, I understand that. It's just they're the Jags and they're the Lions. This team now is called the Miami Marlins. And it's tough to get over that hump, isn't there?
No problems yesterday. Jumped out to an early lead and just pounded the Red Sox to start that series. This little 6-gamer they have with Boston and Atlanta getting off to a great start last night.
And their Cy Young Award winner from a year ago, Sandy Alcantara, who had been struggling, ERA over 5, pitched into 7 innings,
7
gave
innings.
up just 1 run. No, he only had 5 strikeouts. He pitched to contact. That's okay. It's just in. You can get guys out if they hit the ball. Tough to find holes in baseball. That Arise, though, 2 for 5. His average doesn't even go up.
How about that? You go 2 for 5 and it doesn't raise your batting average
At all. Not a point. You went into the game at 399. You come out of the game at 399. Think about that. That's what he has to do every day for another half a season in order to approach what Ted Williams did over 80 years ago. 2 for 5. What's that called? Average. Great. Looking forward to the ballpark. So Ray started their road trip with a loss. I will say this, Mark, although they came right back the next half inning and scored a bunch of runs, but 4 batters into the game, it was 4-0. It was 10 o'clock. I'm like, this is fantastic. I can go to bed. And by the time the inning was over, it was 5-0. I'm like, huh. Now, of course, if you stayed up for 15 more minutes, it was 5-4. And you're like, son of but so
Yeah,
Marlins
Thomas
win.
Bradley had a rough one last night. Gave up
he
7 runs over 5 innings, 5 in the first you mentioned, a couple more pounded out. So the Rays off to a rough start on their road trip. The Marlins taking care of business last night in Boston.
A really unique thing happened in baseball yesterday.
Yes, it did.
The entire American League East lost, and the entire National League East won. And they were not playing each other in interleague play.
And I thought you were going to talk about Ohtani hitting 2 home runs and striking out 10. Something unusual happened in baseball yesterday.
His price,
AL East, NL East. I was just talking about the best player in the game hitting 2 home runs and striking out 10.
His price just went up. You guys have been laughing at us. We've been talking for 2 years. The first digit was going to be a 5. We've centered in now. It's going to be $55 million a year. What does that blankety blank go do? 2 homers, 10 plus strikeouts. So let me get this straight. He's their best hitter and he's their best pitcher. I'm telling you, it's Tommy Gaddis. It's 6th grade all over again. Some days he pitches, some days he plays short. Bats third. He's 12. Only this guy's in his late 20s. He's doing it in the major leagues. Did you have a guy like this? Did you ever play Little League? You had the kid who was the best player on the team, and he pitched, and when he didn't pitch, he played short? Or center fielder or whatever.
Well, yeah, there's one of those in every city. In Little League, there seems to be one of those on every team. The difference is, like you said, this is the major leagues.
Right.
Yeah, the kid that grew faster than everybody else was the biggest 12-year-old in 10, 11, 12. Threw gas, never grew another inch, and wasn't that good of an athlete by the time he was 15. Yeah, we know who you're talking about, David.
So the entire American League East lost. The entire National League East won. Oh, yeah, and then there's Ohtani. Oh, for goodness sakes. 2 homers, 10 strikeouts, pitched into the 7th. Are you serious?
There's no athlete on earth better at their sport than Shohei Ohtani. I mean, it is ridiculous to watch this man play baseball. He's better than Jokic is at basketball.
Is Ohtani the best athlete in the world right now, so to speak?
He certainly has a case.
No, it's
a great statement.
Mahomes in football there.
Yeah, I think Shohei is better at baseball than Patrick Mahomes is at football.
Now, baseball's unique. You could, if you're good enough. I mean, I guess, Mark, is this like when Dion
was going both ways?
Was playing offense and defense? Never mind playing baseball. We're Dion fans, folks. I know there's many of you that don't like Dion. We're in the tank for Dion. Sorry. We go back to when he was the athlete and watched him, and outside of Bo Jackson, he was the most amazing thing we had seen, and we're in the tank for Dion. Sorry.
Yeah, don't know what to tell you there.
Yeah. In fact, Mark and I worked in the same studio for 15 years. We never hung anything up on the walls in the studio. Not a thing. All right. There was this little glass window in the door, and Mark was tired of people peering in and looking at us like we were the animals in the zoo. And so Mark found a picture of Deion Sanders that fit perfectly to cover up the small window. That was it. All the years we did shows together. It was the only thing the two of us hung up. Well, that, and we stole an Arena Football League championship banner. And when we tried to hang that for a while.
That's it. A defunct Arena Football League team championship banner and a picture of Dion.
Right. That's it. That's our memorabilia.
Not much has changed at the Moulton end of the studio. You can see if you watch on Twitch, white walls behind him, and I have nothing to do with anything that's behind me. Nothing.
Correct. We're just renting the studio. We're not even leasing with an option to buy. We're the apartment dweller desperately looking to buy a house, and we can't afford one. That was good, Felipe. Is Ohtani right now the best athlete in the world, basically? Is he dominating at his sport better than anyone else is in theirs? Wow.
I think you're right. I mean,
Second,
Connor McDavid is ridiculous, and Connor McDavid would be close because in hockey you play both offensively and defensively, and what Connor McDavid's doing is exceptional right now.
Right, and if you want to stray away from just team sports, I'd say Novak Djokovic maybe in terms of domination.
Yeah, it's true because you obviously
If Scheffler could putt, he'd win.
If Scheffler was putting right now, yes.
Is Shohei Ohtani the best athlete in his sport on the planet right now? We may have stumbled into something. 21,000 is the text line. Great show lined up for you. Pat Kirwan and Seth Everett in the 8 o'clock hour. The starting 25 minutes away.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Tweet here from yesterday. Apologies if this is out there, but Tennessee State is holding a press conference tomorrow to announce it's going to be the first HBCU to introduce college hockey at its school.
What was that? Sorry.
Tennessee State is announcing today that they're going to be the first HBCU to introduce college hockey.
Wow. Did you see Super 70 Sports?
I did not.
It's a highlight reel from what I'm guessing is late 70s, maybe just crossing over into the 80s. And it's an ABC like promotional video in which they're all dolled up, men in tuxes, okay, women in outfits. ABC asking the question, what would happen if all of our stars were high on cocaine and given a terrible song and dance routine to perform?
I've seen that one before, and I've seen the video. It's pathetic.
Yes. And he goes, here it is. And the answer is pure effing magic. Burgess Meredith in a white tux.
So if you were to put this into a poll question, Ohtani, Mahomes,
Djokovic? Or are we doing team sports?
Oh, he's won the last 3 majors he's been allowed to play.
Ohtani, Mahomes, Djokovic.
McDavid. Connor McDavid's got to be on the list.
Yeah. Ohtani, Mahomes, McDavid, Djokovic.
Unless you want to put Jokic up there instead of
No. Because,
because Embiid's better. Is that why?
no.
Thank you, Kendrick Perkins.
He does have jewelry over McDavid, I will say.
Now, DC, I know your point about Katie Ledecky, who just swam the 3rd fastest, 800-meter backstroke of all time last night. By the way, she's got the first 2.
I mean, I tell people around my age, because it makes more sense. He's doing stuff that your dad's dad hasn't even seen.
You know what drives me nuts? Glad you asked. So when there are stories about a person's injury and they don't tell us which knee it is, happens all the time. All the time. I have to read 7 stories to finally get somebody to go right or left. Fournette's car on fire yesterday. I read 6 stories, can't find out where he was driving, what state, what highway, can't find it.
Well, because it's all the same story.
Oh, well, no. There's actually, and I try to read the gossip stuff because they get more info than, standard news organizations.
Right. How do you not send a local news team out
Well,
there?
they say he was driving down the highway. Which
Where?
one? Where?
If it was in Tampa, why isn't Tampa's local whatever not tackling this? Why isn't there drone footage or whatever?
You know what really bothers me? Thanks for asking.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. We are fired up, surprisingly. It's late June, one of the slowest times of the sports year. And all 3 of us on the show today are absolutely fired up. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com, getting over the hump together. Hump day! Yeah! I haven't done that to you in years. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Because I think that it's past enough time that now everybody knows what you're doing still. And they're probably in their cars or in their house getting ready, listening. And someone, maybe multiple people, are going, Mike. And if they're doing that, David, it was worth it for you to let that bellow out.
See, back in the day, I did it too often.
By too often, every Wednesday, multiple times per Wednesday. In fact, multiple times per hour.
Well, yeah. I mean, every time we came back from break, there was
Yes,
an
sir.
opportunity. And so I was doing it one time, and Mark just got up and went and left. So I'm like, wow. And, didn't come back like 8 seconds later. Like, it wasn't a practical joke. Like, I mean, like, went out to the car. It was like, I can't. Honestly, I'm just going to stab him in the neck if I stay there much longer. So about 3 minutes later, he came back. I'm still laughing at myself. All right. That's why I think he came back. He's like, listen, if I don't come back, the show's not going to continue. So I stopped doing it. But like I said, we're fired up on this final Wednesday of June. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. I think we've stumbled onto a couple of things, only one of which we've brought to everyone's attention. Because you, before the show, just coming off the top rope, we never do any show prep. We never talk about what we're actually, want to talk about on the show.
David, I damn near texted you last night.
What?
Yeah. I've been thinking about this for a while. Is that should I start texting Moulton around 8 o'clock before I fall asleep on the couch and saying, I'm thinking about this for tomorrow?
Man.
Or would that just piss you off?
Oh, no. I'd actually tear. I would shed tears if this started happening. I would walk over to my wife and go, he really cares. Okay, look, he really likes me.
After the Mr. Mom portion of my day, I try to end by about 4 o'clock. That the schoolwork's done, the chores are done, and we're done parenting at that time. It's fun time around the house.
After that, you give her a drink and a cigarette, and you say you're on your own.
We sit down, play a game of gin. We each have a cocktail and a smoke. Yes, exactly. No smoking, just the cocktail. And I have been throwing on, not every day, but 2 or 3 times a week, I throw on the 4-Letter Network for their NFL show, mainly to see if anything's happening. Did I miss anything? Because I'm trying to pay more attention to baseball and NBA free agency and the NHL draft coming on. And so is there something in the NFL that I missed? And there wasn't. There was nothing going on. So they're doing their usual hype stories.
So let's see. It's on ESPN. Are they talking about the Lakers?
Well, it was the NFL show, and they only could slip them in once or twice.
I know it was an NFL show, but I'm still asking the question, and I think it's a valid question. Was the NFL show talking about the Lakers?
Only once or twice.
Because, if LeBron played football, what position would he play? I mean, there's a half hour.
Exactly. But whoever was on the television, and again, I just heard it, and he said, Tua Tagovailoa has more pressure on him than any other quarterback in the league this year.
Huh?
Exactly. And I immediately thought, I don't know, the guy that left Green Bay and went to New York has more pressure on him than Tua.
Does Tua have more pressure because he's never done anything before? And if Aaron and the Jets come up short, whatever coming up short is, that Rodgers can look at him and go, well, I mean, I'm still pretty damn good. Hall of Fame career and all.
And I guess for most people, that's enough. I think it's more pressure when you go to it, especially when Brady went to the new town and won him a championship in year 1.
He did?
The expectations of the Jets are to win the Super Bowl. Nothing short of that. I don't think anything short of going to the Super Bowl will be considered a successful season for the New York Jets. That, to me, is a lot of pressure to begin the season with. To go to the Super Bowl or bust.
And Mark, when Brady went to the Bucs, they were coming off a 7-win season. And Aaron Rodgers is going to the Jets. And how many games did they win last year?
That'd be 7.
Yes. Boy, that Brady guy sounds like he was amazing.
He really does. But I just thought, what are the quarterbacks with the most pressure on them entering the season? I thought it was a hell of a June 28th topic, David.
How about Dak, by the way?
Another one. I'm right there with you. Who has more pressure on him, Tua or Dak?
Tua. Tua has a better roster around him.
Ooh.
Not according to Pro Football Focus.
Offensively. And I don't care. Look at the weapons, please.
Well, but weapons, yes, but blocking? I mean, honestly, if you're a Doll fan, you'll take 15th best offensive line right now. Right now, if that offensive line can perform, and at the end of the year, whatever your metrics are, in which you go, the Dolphins' offensive line, they graded out as the 15th best line in the league. If Tua can get that team's winning double-digit games.
And again, I think Tua has more pressure than Rodgers too, just because Rodgers can retire right now and will have a Hall of Fame career. He has a Super Bowl. He has the MVPs. He has all of the glory.
Who else, by the way, on the list? You said 5.
No, that's what I just came. I said, well, to me, that was my question. This was just one.
Right. So, quarterbacks, expectations. Do you say Jared Goff?
I don't think there's pressure on him.
Any other young quarterback? And by young, like Tua's in the same class with Herbert and Burrow. All right.
Deshaun Watson.
I was going to Deshaun Watson and Josh Allen were the two that I'm thinking of.
It's funny. I'm actually thinking Lamar more than Josh Allen, even though he's won an MVP. He got the contract. It's kind of like, okay.
That's going to be fun to watch. Deshaun versus Lamar twice a year.
I think Paul brings up a great point. I think Russell in our Twitch chat room, by the way, if you've missed the show that way, you can go to twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton and watch the two of us and even a little bit of Felipe here and there. Russell Wilson has a ton of pressure on him this year.
I like it. I like it. Okay. So are we going to have multiple poll questions? Is this going to be the Levitard show? Is this going to be Mike Bianchi in Orlando? We're just firing out poll questions every segment?
As long as we can get them typed up and put up, David. One of the two of us will take care of that.
Thank you. Thank you. Just check the spelling. That's all.
That's where my biggest fears come in with all of this, David.
I mean, that first poll question, we've got some double, triple Scrabble point names we were putting in that one. And now with this one as well. So, quarterback with the most pressure on them this season. Interesting. We'll say Tua is also playing for a contract. I mean, they picked up his 5th-year option, but okay. So he doesn't get it done this year. They start making plans. Dak Prescott doesn't get it done this year. They start making plans. May not be able to pull it off right away, but they start making plans.
Miller and Moulton, which quarterback has the most pressure on him entering the upcoming football season? Text us at 21,000. We'll get a poll question up here anytime. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles in the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. All right, which quarterback has the most pressure on him entering the season? Tua, Rodgers, Wilson, Prescott? There's no Deshaun on there. That's the only one I think we're missing. Who would you take off to put Deshaun on?
I don't think that Aaron Rodgers has as much pressure as you think. I mean, he's kind of just like,
He
"Meh,
does.
I'll
Okay,
play for the Jets."
then leave it on there and see how this vote turns out.
Okay.
Because I don't think Deshaun's a one that's going to take 60% of the vote, if you know what I mean.
That's true. And like, he is young.
But would you do it differently, David? Tua, Rodgers, Wilson, Prescott.
I like that.
Okay, that's up.
Wes, Mac Jones is going to be entering his third year, but I hear what you're saying. It's funny, Wes, you mentioned Pickett. My mom texts me Pickett. Morning, Mom.
The team's putting a lot of pressure on players. Are saying, "Hey, this defense is championship caliber defense. We just need a quarterback." Hey, did something happen? NIL? Bianchi put out what's on their show, and what did I miss?
So the NCAA yesterday comes out and says, "Listen, don't care what your state laws are. You got to follow our rules," which are very different than a lot of state laws that have been passed. So
Right.
What do you do if you're a school in those states? You follow the law, or do you follow an institution that, quite frankly, you don't even want to pay attention to anymore? I mean, let's be honest. What is the NCAA? We said this years ago. You know what the NCAA has really been reduced to? An event planner.
15 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks for being with us this final Wednesday of June as we get over the hump together. Magic numbers 59, 64, and 71. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Pat Kirwan, Seth Everett joining us in our 8 o'clock hour. We've got not one, but two pretty darn good poll questions. One's kind of a yay or nay poll question. The other's got choices, but we got two good questions early in the show. Man, it's like we had our coffee and cereal this morning beforehand. I mean, we are just raring to go today. So Felipe just, threw out there. We're 8 minutes into the show. We're talking about a variety of things. Mark mentioned Ohtani last night. And Felipe goes, is anybody more dominant in their sport right now than Ohtani? Huh. It's a hell of a question. How about we ask the masses or the 37 of you that are listening? And then Mark's 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, he's having his whiskey and his smoke. He throws on ESPN, their NFL show. Just starts talking about, listen, we got nothing going on, so how about this? What quarterback's got more pressure on them this coming season? And their argument was Tua. Huh. So we got what? Tua, Dak, Russell Wilson,
and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, those are our 4 choices. Which one of those 4 you think has the most pressure on them this year? So there you go. How about that for meat on the bone? Sink your teeth into that. What have you done by 6:40 in the morning, huh? That's what we've done. That's a lot for us.
That is really a lot.
In fact, Mark's going to go have a whiskey and a smoke and put his feet up right now. He's like, man, that's a full show for me. Not only do I have to come up with the questions, I got to post them. I'm done. Moulton, take it away. Time for...
The starting 5. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
We've been very happy, positive, and upbeat so far in the show today. Unfortunately, there was a very sad, tragic story, a few of them yesterday, that affected the sports world. The first, Ryan Mallett. Remember him? Had a really good college career, mostly at Arkansas. Ended up playing 7 years as a backup for the most part in the NFL. He's 35 years old. He's a high school coach in Arkansas. He's vacationing in the Florida Panhandle, drowned offshore at a Destin beach yesterday. 35 years old. Very sad. Very well liked while he was playing and later on in life. Leonard Fournette escaped a tragedy yesterday. He's driving his SUV down the highway. The sucker just catches on fire. You should see the pictures of this thing. I mean, that thing is crispy. He escaped injury, however. He's still a free agent. Just
don't have to worry about his first step right now.
Exactly. Still got quickness. I mean, the heck with the cone drill. Escaped fire.
This guy has speed that burns.
One other sad, tragic, disturbing, wow story. NASCAR is going to be in Chicago this weekend. They're racing on the streets of the Windy City. First time they've ever done that. Jimmy Johnson was going to be in the race. Well, he had to drop out of the race because, there was a murder-suicide late Monday into Tuesday in Oklahoma. Turns out Jimmy's mother-in-law shot and killed his father-in-law and an 11-year-old nephew, their grandson, and then she turned the gun on herself. Yikes. So obviously Jimmy's going to go be with his wife and the rest of his family and not race this weekend in Chicago. Now back to the stuff that doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. Major League Baseball last night, the Marlins began a key 6-game road trip, key in that they're facing 2 winning teams, and we'll see whether or not this is a mirage, right? They went to Boston and buried the Red Sox. 10-1 the final. Alcantara with 7 innings, a 1-run ball to get the win. Luis Ariz went 2 for 5. He's hitting .399. Jazz Chisholm comes off the injured list. He goes 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Segura comes off the injured list. He gets 2 hits, including a homer. Marlins are 12 games over 500, baby. Just about at the halfway point of the season, 46-34. Marlins had to win because the whole NL East won yesterday. Marlins are 4 ahead of the Phillies for a wild card. Phillies beat the Cubs 5-1. Brandon Marsh with 2 homers. Hell, the Mets even won a game. Brandon Nimmo with 2 homers. They beat Milwaukee 7-2. And by the way, with Milwaukee losing and Cincinnati beating Baltimore 3-1, the Reds snap a 3-game skid and they're back in first. Back to the NL East, Atlanta 6-2 over Minnesota. They hit 4 homers. Acuna with 2 of them. Tell you what, we're all paying to see Ohtani first, but Acuna's second. On my list, he's second. I got to pay to see people play right now in baseball. Ohtani's 1, and it ain't close, but Acuna's 2. And let's see, who else is left in that division? Oh, yeah, Washington beat Seattle 7-4-11, just for the heck of it. Meanwhile, the whole AL East lost. Tampa Bay. Arizona scored 5 in the first. Evan Longoria homered against his old team.
Do you know he's now homered against every team in baseball with that? That was the last one he had to get. Homered against the Rays. He had not done so before. He is now homered against all 30 active teams in baseball.
That's a very nice, solid career. Not going to Hall of Fame. Okay, he'll be honored by the Rays for sure. By the way, you retire his jersey? I mean, not, this is the whole, it's the Ring of Honor is one thing, retiring jerseys another. If you're a Tampa Bay Ray, you taking his jersey out of circulation?
I'm not.
Okay. Arizona hit 4 homers in the 8-4 win. We mentioned the Reds beat the Orioles 3-1, so they don't pick up any ground on the Rays. Heck, Oakland beat the Yankees 2-1.
How about that?
Well, what's more surprising? The Yankees' only run was a Josh Donaldson homer. Do you know what Donaldson's hitting? He's been benched the last few days, but up until then, he was an everyday player. $132. Giancarlo Stanton went 0 for 4 yesterday. Do you know what he's hitting?
It's gross.
$184. All right, Oakland was home Tuesday night. Yankees were in town. Over under 10,000.
Over
12,000.
Over
13,050. Want to know the pull the Yankees have? They can't get more than 6,000 people on a Tuesday night with a subpoena in Oakland. They drew 13 for the Yankees. Want to know why the Yankees are always on Sunday Night Baseball? There you go. Right there. So let's see. Red Sox lost to the Marlins. Rays lost. Yankees lost. Orioles lost. Who else is left? Toronto lost to San Francisco 3-0. Texas beat Detroit 8-3. They scored 5 in the 8th. St. Louis doubled up Houston 4-2. Paul DeJong with a homer and 2 RBIs. Ohtani hit 2 homers. And then he decided to pitch. Pitched into the 7th, 10 strikeouts, gave up a run. He gets the win. 4-2 Angels, who would be in the playoffs if the playoffs started today, by the way. Wouldn't we all be excited to see that? And I'm being serious.
100%. Desperately need the Angels to make the playoffs this year.
They'd be either a 5 or a 6 seed. Playing a best of 3. You'd get Ohtani on the hill in game 1. Be awesome. Kershaw took a no-no into the 6th in Colorado. He threw 6 shutout innings in the 5-0 win. That's his 10th win of the year. Is Clayton Kershaw going to start the All-Star game in the National League? Here's another thing, by the way. Shane McClanahan should start the All-Star game for the American League. But what is the All-Star game?
It's a television show.
Right. So you start McClanahan or you start Ohtani?
I'm starting Ohtani.
Even though McClanahan's been better, and he's been better for the best team in baseball. But then again, why do you think the Jets are going to get Hard Knocks? It's a TV show. Pittsburgh, by the way, hit 3 homers, beat the Padres 9-4. Terry Francona, 15 minutes before the game, called in his third base coach, said, I'm not feeling well. I'm going to the hospital. And he spent overnight in the hospital running tests. We don't know what's wrong with him. We know Cleveland had to score 2 in the 9th to beat Kansas City 2-1. NBA, Victor Oladipo opts in on his $9.4 million option. That makes sense. He's going to miss most of the year with a torn patella tendon. He could still get traded. They could use that contract in a trade if they need to. I don't know, for somebody like Damian Lillard, say. Golden State's Dante DiVincenzo opts out of his contract. $4.7 million was not going to be enough for the shooting guard off the bench. Detroit's going to pick up the option on 32-year-old Alec Burks. He averaged 13 points a game. That option will cost him $10.5 million. Bunch of deals in the NHL. Toronto, first off, they announced, when did their season end?
By the way, who was that Piston that you just said there that just got how much money?
Alec Burks.
You could spend the rest of the week walking up to people and asking them who he is and getting anyone to correctly answer that question.
He's going to make more money than Saquon Barkley.
Right.
Okay. Never mind how much more money he's going to make than Dalvin Cook. So the Leafs decided they're going to keep head coach Sheldon Keefe after all. He's got to feel very loved and appreciated considering they let him dangle for, 7 weeks. Calgary traded their leading scorer from last year, Tyler Toffoli, to the Devils. It's a good deal for the Devils. LA Kings made a big deal. They traded 3 players and a draft pick to Winnipeg for Pierre-Luc Dubois and then signed him to an 8-year, $68 million deal. $8.5 million per year in the NHL is a lot of money. San Jose acquired goalie Mackenzie Blackwood from New Jersey, and Philly unloads Kevin Hayes to St. Louis for a draft pick. They're picking up half of his salary, however, $3.6 million. And finally, the NCAA yesterday sent out, I don't know if they sent it out, but Sports Illustrated got a copy of the memo. And the NCAA is saying to their member institutions, hey, we don't care what the NIL laws are in your state. Okay, whatever we say about NIL goes. Got it?
Good luck. Good luck enforcing it.
And so let's be brutally honest about this. These schools are tolerating the NCAA. They don't want to pay attention to the NCAA. The NCAA are event planners at this stage of their existence. They really are. Cut the checks and stage the damn events and try not to screw it up, okay? And so it's like, wait a minute. No, I want to follow the laws of the land, thank you. And if my state legislature has made it so that I can out-recruit their state over there, we're going to follow the laws of the state. That's why we pay off these politicians. And the NCAA says, going to be in violation. We're going to penalize you.
Almost started an SEC chant while you went on that diatribe there.
So, this is going to be fun. It's going to be messy. It's going to end up where? It's going to end up in court. By the way, who's going to win? The athletes. That's because the court a few years ago voted unanimously in favor of the athletes. 8 minutes before the hour. That was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Mark, my mother never remarried, but she had a longtime boyfriend, basically through the 70s. Okay. And he lived with us most of the time. Good guy, Bill. Okay. And there would be a couple of times in which Bill tried to be like the law of the land in the apartment. And I would look at Bill like, Bill, I love you. You're a great guy. But that's the sheriff over there. Okay. What she says goes. Okay. This is cute. This is fun, but I don't know what to tell you. Okay. And that's kind of how I feel if I was an athletic department looking at the NCAA. Kind of like, listen, this is cute. This really is. And I appreciate the effort, but I don't know what to tell you.
The only difference is that Bill probably couldn't ground you. The NCAA still has some authority out there. I don't know how much to try to put teams on the spot. We'll see how this one works out. I'm with you. I'm voting for the school.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
We declared our independence in 1776 and have been celebrating the 4th of July with concerts, parades, fireworks, and new sunglasses ever since.
Todd, I'm not sure they had sunglasses back then, but let's go with that since the Diamond District can't have a concert, parade, or fireworks in the store and want to celebrate. So this 4th of July, with a purchase of $500 or more, you'll receive free Bose audio sunglasses.
That's right. With any purchase of $500 or more, now through the 4th of July, the Diamond District will give you free Bose audio sunglasses. Listen to your favorite music by the pool, while running, or walking the beach.
Visit the Diamond District now through the 4th of July for your free Bose audio sunglasses with purchase of $500 or more. Only at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ambient. Thankfully, you've never experienced a riptide. I had a very harrowing experience in one once. Okay. Stone sober. All right. And apparently the riptides off Destin have been pretty bad.
DC, I know you didn't mean to type it that way, but that's really funny. I'm perfectly aware what happened to me nearly happened to me.
Well, exactly. And that's good, by the way, because they're scary.
Mel Brooks is 97 today.
Golly. Him and Reiner, right?
Yep.
They're the two that are alive, right? And Newhart.
No, Kyle Reiner died.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
So is Mel the last one?
Yeah, I think so. Early voting, Russell Wilson with a big lead. Then Dak, and then Aaron and Tua tied for last.
I voted for Russ.
I voted for Russ too. More I thought about it, he goes into the oblivion if this year's bad, where he's just considered a.
Well, his Hall of Fame candidacy is on the line.
Ten seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day, the final Wednesday of June. 59 days away from week 0, 64 days away from week 1 of the college football season. 10 weeks tomorrow, 71 days away. Lions and Chiefs, my, oh my, to kick off the NFL season. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Pat Kirwan, Seth Everett in our 8 o'clock hour. A couple of good topics to discuss on the show today. Ohtani hit 2 homers, struck out 10 on the mound last night in the win. Felipe just said, is there anybody kicking you know what in their sport right now better than Ohtani? You know, we've had people mention Katie Ledecky in swimming. Novak Djokovic has been brought up. I mean, he has won the last 3 majors he's been allowed to play in. But that's a fair question. Is there anybody right now better in their sport than Ohtani is in his? By the way, turns 29 in a week. July 5th is his birthday. Turns 29. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Leads the American League in home runs, by the way. Just saying.
It's just ridiculous.
He's got 7 wins. His ERA is 3.02.
He's leading the American League in runs batted in as well.
His whip is 1.04.
Third and hits.
So we're just saying.
It really is just amazing.
$55 million a year going to be enough?
It will be enough, but you could argue that he would be underpaid.
Now, you know, people are wondering whether or not he's going to be, how long is he going to be able to keep pitching and be a front end starter? I mean, right now he's a number one, at worst, number two starter, but he's a number one starter right now.
Look, I'm not trying to compare him to this guy, but Verlander's still pitching and he's what?
I think 40.
Right. So if I were just to say 5 more years as a frontline starter,
right?
You think that's fair? Takes him to 34 years old.
Well, but also the years that he will pitch, you know, basically, 30 to 34, because he'll turn 30 midway through next year.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, I think that's fair to say he's a frontline starter for at least half of this contract he's going to sign.
So you think entering year 6 of his contract, when he is turning 35, do you think he'll still be at least a number 3 starter?
I do.
Because a number 3 starter is probably going to be making $20 to $25 million a year. So then obviously the rest is
backup center money in the NBA.
It is with the Timberwolves, but you know. So here's the thing I think is going to happen with Ohtani. He's going to have to get 9 years because he's going to say, well, the judge got 9 and he was turning 31. I'm a year and a half younger than Judge. And I pitch. So and this just in, he got hurt again. He was only healthy twice. I've been healthy damn near every year I've played. So what do you say? So, you know, 9 times 55, that's $495 million. My proposal was 8 for $440. I'm leaning towards 9 for $500 million.
You've moved your own proposal up.
Yes.
While negotiating with yourself,
yes.
You've lost the negotiation and have added nearly $60 million in a year to the contract.
Yes. And every time I've started negotiating with myself, you've acted as Ohtani's agent. You like take your arm and you just motion over like, don't say a word. Don't say a word. Just I know him. We're going to make more money. Just let him talk. Yep. 8 for $440 is my offer, but I've got already written down 9 for $500. Hello. Along those lines, Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, is going to have a press conference at 1:00 today. He's going to clear the air. Okay.
By the way, are you watching this as a sport fan or a Met fan or both? Are you interested in that press conference? Because I am.
No, I'm not. But that's not true. That's a lie. Because you do know what my thought was. We've always talked about if we owned a team.
Exactly.
We'd probably be awful, but boy, would we have great pressers. And so I'm thinking to myself, you pay around $2.5 billion for a team. You get to call the press conference when you want and just clear the air. There's a few things I got to get off my chest. I got to do my day trading on Tuesday. I'll just let you all know. I'll talk to you at 1:00 on Wednesday. Oh, okay, Steve. Thanks. By the way, what do you think they were saying in the dugout last night? They're playing lousy. And the owner comes out as they're showing up at the ballpark. Yeah, I got a few things to say. 1:00 tomorrow. Meet me at the stadium. Oh, damn.
No wonder the odds were so heavy on the Mets yesterday. We didn't know Cohen was going to come talk. We thought that we looked at the odds. They got a guy pitching who's got an 8 ERA, and they're a big favorite in the game. We're wondering what the hell's going on. Shortly after our show, the owner comes out and calls a 1:00 presser for the next day. Look what happened. The team played their ass off last night.
Huh. Funny how that works. Pitching, hitting, and defense all on the same night. It's possible. You spend $400 million on a ball club, you can play 9 good innings occasionally. But back to our topics. The other topic was, so Mark was, he's being Mr. Dad yesterday, but apparently he stops being Mr. Dad at 4:00. We've learned that on the show today. At 4:00, he basically stops.
Stop with the active role. Then we get into the gambling part of the day. That's when the daughter and I are either going to play dice or gin.
So the parenting ends at 4. And then after that, he, breaks out the whiskey, puts the feet up, the smokes, got to clear the air, though, before the wife gets home. And he's watching NFL Live, and they got nothing to talk about. They did their segment on LeBron and the Lakers. And then they said, hey, which quarterback has more pressure on them? And they concluded apparently Tua has the most pressure in the league.
One guy says Tua's got the most pressure on it, has more pressure on him than any other quarterback in the league. And I just disagreed with him when he said it. I simply looked at the television and said, what about Aaron Rodgers? And that got me thinking, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. There are a lot of quarterbacks that I think have as much, if not more pressure on them than Tua entering the season. And I get the reasons why you could pick Tua. He is playing for a contract. And it's a make it or break it year for him. But I don't think that he has the most pressure on him entering the season.
By the way, we had a texter who asked, what about Jordan Love? See, I don't think he's got that pressure this year. I do think, though, you combine this year with next year, I think they're going to give him a 2-year leash to show that he can play. When Aaron sat for 3 years and he came in and played in 2008, he was okay. He was not great. They went 6-10. And it was a good team because they were a play away from going to the Super Bowl the year before. But, Rodgers hadn't played. Needed to go through, experience his lumps, so to speak. And then the next year, he took him to the playoffs. And the year after that, he won the Super Bowl. So I don't think the pressure's on Jordan this year, but I don't think the leash is terribly long. We had somebody say, what about Brock Purdy? Does he have to prove that last year was not a fluke? Or else is he going to be a one-and-doner, so to speak? And they'll move on from him in a heartbeat. I mean, hell, what's the story that's out there? The Niners and who else ready to sign Kirk Cousins in March? Forget who the other team was? And they're like, oh, yeah, we got our sights set on Kirk Cousins. Huh. Okay. So there you go. Who's anyone more dominant in their sport right now than Ohtani? And the poll question, the official poll question. What quarterbacks got the most pressure on them this year? Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Tua, Aaron Rodgers. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Florida Sports Network, and vote. And for the record, Miller and Moulton both ended up voting for Russell Wilson, who I think is leading early voting.
Going away with it, getting over half the vote right now.
A year ago at this time, did you think Russell Wilson was a Hall of Fame quarterback?
I didn't, but I'm not a Russ guy.
Right. Do you think, though, in taking the temperature a year ago at this time of the room?
Yes. Great way to phrase it. I think most people would have said Russ was a Hall of Fame quarterback entering last year.
So now think about his candidacy a year later. And is Russell Wilson? See, I can argue they're stuck. I mean, this is the first year his contract actually kicks in. I mean, they can't walk away from this. Do you know what the cap hit would be to walk away from Russell Wilson after this year? I mean, I think it'd be over $100 million. So, Sean's kind of stuck with Russ for at least 2, if not 3 years. But I do think, Mark, if Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer, or at least a solid, credible candidate for the Hall of Fame, I think his candidacy is dependent on how he plays this year. He needs to be pretty good or better.
I think you're right. And it's not just, David, I think this is where it gets even more difficult for Russ because it's not just how he plays, it's how he plays and how the team performs. And for a lot of years in Seattle, it was a foregone conclusion that they were the best team in that division. Well, they're clearly not the best team in their own division right now. Hell, they're not second. So not only does he have to play well, I think the team has to have success. And I would think it has to be a borderline playoff team for Russ to get the credit that he wants. He can't just go up and put numbers up and throw a 7-10 season up there, David.
Well, there are a lot of people that believe that that's a playoff roster. Now, you could still argue it's the third best roster in that division. But there are some of us that think that the roster is close enough to the Chargers and that there's a coaching difference that could make up the difference between the two. So, Russell Wilson, by the way, well, we'll get to his contract details, and they are ugly next.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Paul, I think it's much worse because A, they gave up a ton more for Russ than what Houston and the Rams gave up for Stabler and Namath. Well, Russ, Arch, it's just one of the things that we believe is at stake. That if his career ends poorly, we think he could play himself out of the Hall of Fame. But Arch, we think Russ is playing for his career too. I mean, Sean Payton's in his early 60s. He's not going to stick with Russ long. No, Arch, yes, he had, and Russ, fine. Your vote's Tua. Oh, the Seahawks are laughing their butt off about the Russell Wilson trade. I mean, they don't have the resources to trade up. No, Arch, your point's a valid one. That Tua, needs to establish his career this year.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Clutch Vodka play of the day, roughly a half a dozen minutes away. Pat Kirwan at the top of the hour in 40 minutes. Seth Everett in a little more than an hour. Our poll question today, which quarterback is playing under the most pressure this coming season?
And we're getting texters who don't even agree with our four nominees, David.
Dak, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Tua were the four that we put up there. Arch in our Twitch chat room is like, guys, how could you pick Russell Wilson over Tua? Tua's playing to establish a career. Russ has already had one. Aaron's already had one. Oh, okay. Just for what it's worth, contract-wise, and Russell Wilson's 35 years old this year. You know his cap hit this year is only $22 million.
What's it next year?
His cap hit next year is a little over 35. Then,
okay,
if they were to have cut him off of last year, let's just say Sean Payton came in this year and said, I got no use for this guy. They would have taken $107 million cap hit. If after this year, Sean Payton goes, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I got no use for him. They'll take an $85 million cap hit next year. But Mark, you could argue after 2024, his cap hits are greater than his dead cap hits. You actually save money by getting rid of them. His cap hit in 2025 will be $55 million and change, where his dead cap hit will be $6 million less. So if you're looking at it closely, you know, Russ has probably got 2 years before they even consider it. But he's going to be a really expensive 37, 38, 39-year-old quarterback, let me tell you. Making 55, 58, and 53 million in years 3, 4, and 5 with Sean Payton if he can go that long. But so there you go.
Few people have texted the show with Lamar Jackson, and we considered putting him on the list. There's no doubt that he's got a lot of pressure, new contract, and obviously a couple of new players, and to get through a season without injury.
And the guy who was on the list that we took off was Deshaun Watson.
And a couple of people, and there are, we know, up and down the Florida coast, there are a lot of Patriot fans, and some of them saying, what about our guy? Well, I don't know how much pressure the guy has who is picked to finish last in his division by everybody. If he exceeds expectations, that would be fantastic. But I don't know how much pressure he has on him in comparison to any other quarterback in the league.
It's year 3 this year for Mac Jones. They have to decide after this year, or they pick it up his 5th-year option. So they basically have to decide after this year, is this our guy or not?
But they're considered to have the 4th best roster in the division. They're considered to finish 4th. They're picked to finish 4th in the division. I don't know how much pressure that guy has on him, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but you know, Bill doesn't think that way. Yeah, just like most teams. We say, hey, you know, like Ron Rivera and Washington aren't thinking they're the 4th best team in the East. They're
Derek
thinking
Carr has more pressure than Mac Jones.
But you could argue Mac's playing for his career this year. And to establish a career, to have a career as a starting quarterback. Derek Carr has already had 9 years as a starter. I mean, it's a beautiful question. The question is just open-ended enough. You can make the argument for a lot of guys.
I mean, we could put up a second poll question with the 4 other quarterbacks really easily and say which one has the most pressure on him and get equal votes. No one's mentioned him. I don't think he's got a lot of pressure on him, but he's got pressure to prove that it wasn't a one-year thing. Trevor Lawrence. You and I have talked about the Jags, the schedule that they have, the ability to be a 1 or a 2 seed. He's not going to lose his job. There's no jeopardy of anything like that. But to become an elite quarterback, to get mentioned in the same breath as the Justin Herberts, God forbid, the next tier quarterbacks.
I don't know. I don't want to say he's playing with house money this year, but I think Trevor's got a lot of rope. He's got a long leash. I think he's got this franchise by the throat. But then again, if it all goes awry, maybe not. Maybe not. Someone mentioned Matthew Stafford, which is interesting at this stage of his career, but coming off injury. His backup, Stetson Bennett. A couple of Georgia guys out in LA. Very interesting.
It shows you the cap hell that the Rams are in. We're keeping 2 quarterbacks. One of them's a rookie.
Tell you what, though, that head coach is going to like the personality of Stetson Bennett because that quarterback is as cocky as the head coach. I think he's going to like him. Remember, he liked Baker. Yeah, he didn't want to get rid of Baker. He loved Baker. Loved his personality. I think he's going to like Stetson Bennett. I don't know if he can play, but I think he's going to like him.
And someone nominated Baker for having pressure on him. Baker could be out of the league if he does. He has that type of pressure, but I don't think Baker has pressure on him per se. Hell, there's some people out there that wonder if it's his job.
If it's not, he's not under any pressure. He gone. Felipe's answer was Tua, though. He thinks Tua is playing under the most pressure in the league this year.
I mean, to show you how good their roster is, they made the playoffs and almost won a game without Tua last year. And I think it's undeniable that he makes them better. So he can play.
Over under 13.5 starts.
Over.
I'm going over as well. We better be right. We better be right. Time now for
our Clutch Vodka play of the day. Felipe, what do you have for us?
Well, it's baseball season, and it's Shohei season. And the reason why Shohei was brought up on the show is because just over 6 innings last night, he had 10 strikeouts, gave up 4 hits, 1 earned run. Then, on the other side, he went 3 for 3, had 2 home runs, and this is what one of them sounded like.
See what I mean? That is high, that is deep, that is gone, that is number 27 for Shohei Ohtani. Spectacular indeed.
David, you know your news terms, that's what we call a nat pop right there. Smacked it. Deep right field. Shohei Ohtani, play of the day.
That's your Clutch Vodka play of the day. Clutch with the Nat Pop K.
Right. That's Nat with a K. And Ohtani led to our first question of the day, which is anybody dominating their sport more than Shohei Ohtani is right now? Leading the American League in homers, third in hitting.
First in RBI.
Oh, yeah, he's the number 1 starter on a playoff team. We're just saying.
Struck out 10 last night.
Novak Djokovic, Katie Ledecky have been mentioned. Jokic has been mentioned.
But we don't think there's anybody dominating quite the way that Shohei is for the Angels. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan, 30 minutes away right here on the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN play of the day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the play of the day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka play of the day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
While talking with my friends Jason and Todd with the Diamond District, the 4th of July came up, and Todd was like,
Jason, the Diamond District is celebrating 20 years in business. Let's give something away for free this 4th of July.
Then Jason, with that aha look on his face, said, Todd, I had the perfect idea. I was wearing my Bose audio sunglasses at the pool the other day and loved the feel, the look, and the sound. Let's do this. With a purchase of $500 or more, we'll give a pair of these sweet-sounding shades away. It didn't take Todd long to agree.
Jason, you're brilliant. Who wouldn't want Bose audio sunglasses? And for a purchase of $500 or more, it's a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. Now through the 4th of July, free Bose audio sunglasses with your purchase of $500 or more from the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. All right, the Homer hat. Is it as annoying as the turnover chain, turnover this, turnover that?
Oh, you mean like
The Homer hat.
Well, that's the thing. Not all teams do a hat. Some teams do a cape. Some teams do.
They all do something, and
like
it's
a
annoying.
robe. No, I like it. I like it. Like the Marlins, it's so stupid. It's like the weakest one. They literally just wear like a straw Fisher hat with like it's like Marlins themed. It's stupid. But the one that the Angels have going on is awesome. It's like the samurai, helmet. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Oh,
This is where 162 games of something is a little long for anything to me.
see, that is true.
If you started this in the postseason, and I'm not, if you started it in the postseason, to me, it would be cool.
Isn't it crazy how the Miami Hurricanes literally created that, though?
Yeah?
They did. Man, what a year the turnover chain was. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun for like a month.
Yeah.
6 weeks. No, it was. It was fun.
Guys,
it was like the Mets closer last year in the song coming out of the bullpen the second half of the year.
Right.
It was fun. Yeah. But that's it. That's the moment.
But man,
although when he comes back next year, they'll probably play the song again. But
I always think of the Trajan Bandy pick six against Notre Dame. I mean, that was the height. Because, again, we've talked about this. I have not had a good experience as a Miami Hurricanes football fan in my lifetime because when they won in 01, I was one. That was probably my fondest moment as a Hurricanes football fan. Beating the crap out of Notre Dame at home. After every single person counted us out. And Lee Corzo and College Game Day on the campus of the University of Miami put on the freaking Irish hat. That was unreal. And then we lost our last 4 games. Sorry, they lost.
Mm-hmm.
Since a kid from Miami can't say we about the University of Miami.
Correct.
Have you guys seen this grimace shake trend that's going on right now?
I have not.
Oh my gosh. So there's a TikTok trend where you know how there's the grimace shake that's out at McDonald's now? Celebrating Grimace's birthday. It's a purple shake. And they're like, all right, guys, I have the grimace shake.
Question is, what flavor is the purple shake? It's a purple shake, but they've never said a flavor to it.
I have no clue. But,
is it a vanilla shake with purple food coloring in it? I don't know.
Maybe, but that's part of the trend. So they're like, all right, guys, this is the grimace shake. I'm going to try it. It's not. And then it cuts. And it's literally just them like dead on the floor. With the purple shake like splattered all over them. Like and some of them are horrifying. Like people go to extreme lengths to display a fake image of someone brutally murdered by the grimace shake.
It's a berry shake. Thanks, DC.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of the hour. Seth Everett, 1 hour from now. Couple of poll questions out there. Anybody dominating their sport more so than Ohtani? We put Connor McDavid, Patrick Mahomes, and Novak Djokovic, right, on the list. Along with them, which one you think is dominating their sport the most right now? So far, you're voting for either Ohtani or Djokovic. That's it. So I guess we could have made it an either or. And which quarterback's playing under the most pressure this year? You can define pressure however you want, obviously. We went with a young'un like Tua, a guy who's a little bit more experienced than that, Dak, and then a couple of veterans, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Those are your 4 choices. Which quarterback playing under the most pressure this year? So that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Vote accordingly. We'd appreciate it. Ohtani last night, 2 homers, 10 strikeouts, pitching into the 7th in the win. Do you think if what we have talked about is to gain any steam, and Rob Manfred brought it up 8 years ago, do you think Ohtani could be the reason why? And what we brought up is changing how the late innings go, wanting to see the stars more in baseball, whether it's the manager gets to determine what the lineup is in the 9th inning, which is Mark's proposal. Mine is beginning with the 8th, that the manager can go out and say, yeah, we're starting with number 2 hitter, like the Angels, and we're going to go Ohtani, Trout, and when he's healthy, Rendon. That's going to be, and then, we'll just roll it over from there. And the 9th inning, it's like, yep, same thing. Do it again. So that baseball will resemble what? The other sports. Best players on the court, on the field, on the ice. Puck, ball in their hand. Down the stretch.
And, and I know most of you aren't hockey fans, but hockey was one of the harder sports to make that change. Basketball is really easy. You don't play with a lot of guys. Football, the quarterback's going to have the ball in his hands, whichever quarterback's out there. But hockey, the way teams rolled lines and did line changes and equal amount of ice for the most part for guys, the way the game was built, it was tough to do that. Well, when they implemented the latest changes, what did they put in? TV timeouts. And they put them in, and coaches use them accordingly. So now the ice time is proportional with your best players. Between a late timeout for the media timeout late, and then the team's timeout, you can get your star player on the ice for most of the last 3 minutes.
And certainly the last 2. You put them out there with 2 minutes to go, they play a long shift, you call timeout. They rest up, you keep them out there. And it can be 3 minutes if the other team will also, in trying to protect a 1-goal lead, maybe they'll use their timeout so they can keep their best defensive line and defensive pairing out on the ice. It actually came into play, Mark, in the final 3 minutes of the one game the Panthers won in the finals. All right. Bruce Cassidy was trying to get one more shift out of his third line and third defensive pairing. And then he was going to shorten it to, only 2 or 4 defensemen and only 3 or 6 forwards. That's it. And the Panthers had their best guys out there against Vegas's third best guys, and they scored to tie it up and won it in overtime. Get back in the series for a couple days. So is Ohtani's stardom, you think, potentially going to be the reason why this gains steam? And if we're lucky enough that the Angels could make the playoffs?
Well, that right there, I think would be so good for baseball. I don't know, David. I think that there's part of me that thinks this is a bit of a pipe dream. And I know Manfred's talked about it, but they don't like things in the sport that upset the statistical balance of the sport. This would. And that's what they're going to have to get over.
But don't you think the owners at some point, Mark and Felipe, sit down in a meeting and go, do you know what I'm paying these guys? Okay, why should he have the same number of at-bats as my number 7 hitter that I'm paying $4 million? I'm paying, seriously, if you're the Yankees, okay, you're going to be against this? I get to put Aaron Judge, I'm paying him $40 million. Yeah, damn right I want him at the plate. I don't want Josh Donaldson or DJ LeMahieu. Give me a break. No, I'm paying Stanton 30 and Judge 40. You're damn right I want him up there. This isn't that complicated. What are we doing? That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering, do the billionaires go, why do we not have our stars out on the field at the end? And let's face it, we've never, since Bo Jackson, Mark, has there been anybody in baseball in the last 30 years that's the phenomenon that Ohtani is?
Well, Bonds.
Okay.
But I see where you're getting.
David, come on. This is Babe Ruth. We only read about Babe Ruth, obviously. This is Babe Ruth. He's a number 1 starter, and he's leading the American League in homers. He's 3rd in hitting, for goodness sakes.
And he throws 99 miles an hour.
Yeah, apparently he threw a pitch last night that's like a combination fork ball, knuckle ball, and he threw it at 97 miles an hour. And people are like, I've never seen a pitch thrown this hard, move that much. I know we don't think of this. Remember, this is very anti-baseball. They don't market their stars. They market the front of the jersey, not the back of the jersey. Well, come on. I imagine whoever's going to pay this guy $55 million a year. Are you going to be against this rule?
No, they're not. But what did you bring up on the show yesterday, David? Of the division leaders, and now it holds true again because the Cincinnati Reds beat the Orioles last night and the Brewers lost. So Cincinnati's back in front. You have most of the teams leading divisions that are in the bottom half of payroll in the league. They all get votes.
But even the Rays, who are 28th in payroll out of 30, if you're the Rays, don't you want Wander Franco and Randy Arozarena, okay, batting in the 8th and 9th innings? There you go. You paid Franco, what, $196 million or something over 9 years? That's who I'd want. What, you're going to put that lousy second baseman who's hitting $180? Strikes out 3 times a game, and yet somehow keeps batting 4th or 5th? Whatever.
Is that Lau?
Yeah.
Brandon Lau?
Right.
You don't like him.
Well, we got a Lau and a Low.
Right. And
okay.
Right. Don't even.
And that we got a Brandon and a Josh, and I'm always, it messes me up. The one guy's crushing the ball. The other guy sucks. The guy who's crushing the ball is hitting in the bottom of the lineup. Guy who's awful sitting in the middle of the lineup. I don't, whatever. I think Felipe's going to go to sleep to that. You know, some people have the rain sound that they sleep to. I think he's just going to put that on a loop. He's going to sleep to it.
Either that or it's going to be his new ringer. That would be a good text message sound.
Yes.
The ding.
Just a dinger sound.
Yeah,
dinger.
But a lot of people have a beep or whatever, a very small text sound versus their ring. That right there would be a good texting sound. Ooh, got a text.
Nice.
He crushes balls. And he has that kind of like swing where it's kind of like downward. It looks like a golf swing almost.
He's also like Scheffler. He moves his feet.
Yeah.
Well, and he has to because he hit one out a couple of days ago that was a foot inside the plate. and still manage to rip it out of the ballpark. They're not even throwing strikes to him, and he is ripping the ball out of the ballpark.
Best reaction this year was that lefty pitcher who gave up that home run to him that you're talking about, because you're right. That ball's 8 inches inside. It's 95 miles an hour, and he manages to move his feet and his hands and get it so that, I mean, that pitch, if you make contact, you're pulling 50 feet foul. Okay, and instead he manages to, remember, the ball's traveling in the mid-90s. He's got 0.6 of a second to react, tops, from the moment it's being released. And he manages to put it all together, keep it fair, and hit it for a home run. As the ball's in the air, the pitcher says loudly, "How the did he hit that?"
I love that we now have a few umps that have cameras on them, home plate umpires. Because when you're allowed to see how quickly the reaction time has to be for these hitters, and what they're, and for that matter, for the umpires to call balls and strikes. I love the cameras that are mounted on the umpires.
So I'm just wondering now that, salaries are starting to get, a little crazy. I mean, Judge is 40. Ohtani, we think, is going to be mid-50s. Now, we don't think anybody else is going to get there for a while, because who the hell does both? Nobody. But still, I mean, probably in a year or so, Juan Soto is probably going to get a Judge-like contract or something close to it. I mean, we all know how it works. The next group gets more. By the way, what was Acuna doing signing that long-term deal a couple of years ago? Oh, my goodness. I mean, he only
how
cost
smart do the Atlanta Braves look?
And the Rays also. Yeah, it's a gamble. A guy could get hurt. I guess he could turn into a bust, but I mean, Acuna's only cost himself about $300 million. I mean, it's no big deal or anything. Golly. They're going to be good for a long time.
So the poll questions that are up: which quarterback has the most pressure on him heading into the year? Tua, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, or Dak Prescott? And then asking if Ohtani is the best in his best, how do we have it?
Most dominant
in his sport than anyone else.
I mean, it's like 0-1 Tiger, what he's doing pretty much.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. This 2001 Tiger so far.
And especially in the sense that a lot of these stats, these box scores that he finishes with, we're going to look back in 50 years and just rave about it. They're going to age like fine wine. I mean,
well, what to me is interesting, guys, is there anybody else that's even going to be good enough to attempt to do what he's doing? Just to attempt, not be good at it. Just, is somebody going to come along? Who's the guy the Rays drafted out of Louisville 3 years ago? Was it Brandon McKay? And he was a really good everyday player and pitcher at Louisville. And the Rays drafted him, I think, in the first round. He's gotten hurt, but they were debating whether or not, are we going to let this guy do both? We're going to let him try and pitch, but also be a left-hand hitting first baseman?
I mean, the kid from Florida that was just in the College World Series that was throwing 99 miles. He's wild, but he throws 99 and can hit the ever-living what out of the baseball.
Right. I mean, who's going to be good enough that an organization is even going to let them attempt to do both at the major league level? Not be terrific at both, just good enough that they will be allowed to attempt both. I mean, this guy's a freak.
Yes, he is.
In the best way possible.
And I think he's staying out west, and that sucks for us.
I know. Miller and Moulton thinks Seattle. Everybody else thinks the Dodgers.
Right, and Samson thinks he stays with the Angels.
Right. He always has.
But none of those are on the East Coast. We're still watching all these Ohtani games late at night if we watch them at all.
That is true.
Miller and Moulton, the 8 o'clock hour coming up. Pat Kirwan, we'll ask him our NFL question of the day, of which quarterback he thinks has the most pressure on him entering the upcoming season. And it's Wednesday, so that means Seth Everett will join us, and we'll talk to him about how much money Ohtani's going to make and if he thinks $55 million's in the ballpark.
You know, it's interesting. We watch West Coast NBA as a nation. I mean, we do. The ratings for Warriors and Lakers and whatever, they're good. TNT, when they do a doubleheader, oftentimes their second game outrates their first. Do you think it would be possible? The baseball games now are 2.5 hours. That's basically an NBA game. Do you think if they were to start these games at like 9:40 Eastern, you think more people would stay up to watch Ohtani or Trout? Bets?
If they marketed their stars, they'd have a better shot at it. And maybe you're onto something, David. More Ohtani maybe means better ratings. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan is next.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
We declared our independence in 1776 and have been celebrating the 4th of July with concerts, parades, fireworks, and new sunglasses ever since.
Todd, I'm not sure they had sunglasses back then, but let's go with that since the Diamond District can't have a concert, parade, or fireworks in the store and want to celebrate. So this 4th of July, with a purchase of $500 or more, you'll receive free Bose audio sunglasses.
That's right. With any purchase of $500 or more, now through the 4th of July, the Diamond District will give you free Bose audio sunglasses. Listen to your favorite music by the pool, while running, or walking the beach.
Visit the Diamond District now through the 4th of July for your free Bose audio sunglasses with purchase of $500 or more. Only at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, fellas.
How are you?
You hear me?
Yeah.
Good. I'm always okay. So you were in and out a little bit when I was listening to that commercial.
So, did you see the tweet Golf Digest sent out? Apparently, there's a guy named Bob Weeks who covers golf for TSN in Canada. And he tweeted out, so they retweeted his tweet. Today is the annual father-son alternate shot championship at my club. My 87-year-old dad gave me his annual motivational words on the first tee. Quote, "Your name is in the will, but it's only in pencil."
Yeah, and if you're at a West Bay, your pencil has an eraser.
Right.
I always laugh at that. I go, the nerve of these guys to have erasers. You know, there is a little delay. Did you hear that?
Not on our end.
No, not on our end.
Okay, great. It's just here. I'm fine with it, but there's a little slight delay. Having fun talking about nothing one of these days.
Well, we got a little lucky today. Felipe said something pretty poignant early on in the show about Ohtani being the most dominant in his sport of anybody in sports. So we've played with that a little bit. And I was watching the 4-Letter Network yesterday, in which one of the reporters said that Tua Tagovailoa has more pressure on him than any other quarterback entering the season. And I thought that was wrong. So we've been getting a little mileage off of that today.
Good. I think there's a lot of pressure on the club. He gets a concussion. You know, what are their long-range plans?
Always the GM.
Yeah. Well, we've had some nice arguments, I think, with the Dolphin fans. They're so protective of Tua. You say one thing about him, and it's like chaos breaks out.
Well, do what we do, Pat. Put the over-under on 13.5 games. Does he start more than 13.5 games this year?
I'll say no.
Right. Because if you say yes, then they're going to be good and they're going to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
Although their backup quarterback, Mike White, can't play worse than their backup quarterbacks did last year.
Yes, he can.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, the Dolphins quarterback play was awful without Tua last year.
Oh, they're all bad. And it's like Green Bay. They don't have any alternatives to their quarterback. It's a sad-looking group.
By the way, is Bakhtiari going to be healthy enough to play?
There's another 13.5 over-under. Why don't you make that list? There's a whole bunch of guys that would fit the 13.5 over-under.
Yeah, no doubt. Dwayne Brown with the Jets, the left tackle for the Dolphins, Armstead. Oh, yeah.
We could have a nice list. I was in Alabama for the last couple of days at the Senior Bowl Hall of Fame. We had great interviews with the guys. They're being honored and they're receptive to the whole thing. It's great. Marshall Yonda, he was good. Westbrook was good.
When do you guys get in?
I got in yesterday. Flight was a little delayed.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. We're just halfway home for those in the 239, as the Diamond District bonus hour is 1 hour away. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Pat Kirwan joins us Wednesdays at this time during the off season. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains and CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joins us courtesy of Pinchers. Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, about a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Good morning, Pat. How are you?
Good morning, fellas. Doing fine. Just back from Mobile, Alabama, and the Senior Bowl Hall of Fame. Some great interviews with the guys that were being inducted. Brian Westbrook was terrific, and Clay Matthews, really fun listening to. I knew Clay when he first walked on at USC, and he went from there to a first-round pick. But those guys, when they picked Marshall Yonda, they really kind of proclaimed that the Senior Bowl launched them from fourth and mid-round picks to first-round picks, and then they had nice NFL careers. So it was fun to talk to all those guys. And then the second day, we had other players around, like Roman Harper was really good. He got into wanting to talk football. So it was kind of a little juice that I needed while we're in the middle of grinding out June, waiting for camps to start. So I enjoyed being with those guys.
Pat, are you surprised at the sheer number of good free agents that are still out there right now?
No, I think there's opportunities for clubs for sure. The players, some of them have it's self-induced. They've held out because they're waiting for a lot of money and no one's offered them, and they just thought they'd sit it out. I think you get to that point probably about the third week of free agency. If you haven't hit it when the big money's rolling out, then your alternatives are take a bad deal or wait for an injury. And I think many of these guys think they were waiting for an injury. And then you had some late terminations like Dalvin Cook. So when Dalvin Cook comes into the market, that stunts, Hunt, Fournette. Did you see Fournette's car yesterday? Holy moly, was that bad? So those running backs who thought, well, I'm going to get something, boom, all of a sudden Dalvin's on the market, and that everyone just stops talking to the other backs.
I know we've seemingly talked about this a lot, but why has the league decided that running backs have no value? I mean, we still run the ball a decent amount in this league, Pat. I mean, we run the ball on average of like 4 out of 9 plays.
Yeah.
I mean, in the playoffs, by the way, running wins in January and February. I mean, look at the Eagles. Look at what they've done because of a power running game. I mean, why is it we are devaluing? Yeah, okay, their careers aren't as long as other positions. But, man, I mean, like Derrick Henry hasn't had staggering value the last 5 years?
Well, there's his problem. He's had great value for 5 years, and now they're nervous that it's near the end. And when they hit the wall, they hit the wall. I bring up Sean Alexander all the time, and some of the listeners don't even remember him in Seattle. But they ran him hard for like 3 years, and it fell apart overnight. And if you're in the middle of a big, fat contract, they don't want to be stuck in that. And there's also good running backs. Look at the Pierce kid goes to Houston, mid-round guy. And they get running backs that can function pretty well. And some teams get in trouble cap-wise, and then they have to make decisions. And do you get rid of the pass rusher? No. Do you get rid of the quarterback? No. The cover corner? No. And so before you know it, you're staring straight at and no one seems to ever get rid of the offensive lineman. Do you ever see those O linemen getting released? There's almost never any late releases of O linemen because it takes in the minds of those coaches so long to coordinate the whole thing that they don't. So the running back, the inside linebacker, sometimes the safety, they're very vulnerable to all this. And recently, I would say this trend is in the last couple of years that young receivers are coming into the league and playing well right away. And now that makes, veteran receivers a bit vulnerable as well. So it's no surprise to me. And the running backs are coming out as 20-year-olds with fresh legs. And, if they keep an old back around to be the third down blocker, that's why Zeke Elliott, it's all about money. I'm sure they can't come to an agreement with him, but you and I, the three of us, have talked about how good he is as a third down blocker, but apparently they don't want to pay a third down blocker.
Pat, in regards to the running backs, are they, in order to get any money at all, are they going to have to take, 1-year deals to get it money? Is that even an option? Because most of these guys are trying to get 2 or 3 year deals. Those aren't happening. Is the only way for a running back to get paid is just to accept a 1-year deal with a lot of incentives?
I think for Kareem Hunt, clearly Leonard Fournette, those kind of guys, Melvin Gordon, yeah. But I think Cook has a chance. He's 27. If I'm Miami, I'm going to offer him a 3-year deal, lock him up, and have it average about, 10.5, 11. And he should be looking at that, knowing that that's the franchise tag is going to go down next year. Look at the tight ends that were franchise tagged. I think David brought this up. Those franchise tag tight ends that never did deals, they all took deals this year for half of the price.
Yeah, Dalton Schultz, Gesicki, they're all making less money because 10-9 was the franchise tag for tight ends last year. None of them are making that this year.
Right. So tags are going down at some positions and they're going way up at others, right? It's not like the owners are sticking the money in their pocket. The money they spend on players is just being reallocated. We're going to quarterbacks in the 45 million range. Where's the money coming from? It's coming from the positions we're talking about.
By the way, Pat, which one of our questions of the day, we're talking with Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today Show. He joins us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Pat, because you can define pressure in many different ways. So that's why this question, even though we only give 4 choices, there are probably 15 valid answers. Which quarterback do you think is playing with the most pressure this year?
Well, I know the popular answer to that is Tua. Now the question is, where is the pressure? The pressure's on the GM. The pressure's on the owner. I mean, we have a lot of rabid Dolphin fans that if you say anything about Tua in a not negative sense, but in a real sense, they go out of their minds. They're so mad at people that say those things. But if he gets a concussion, another one, I don't know where it's going to go from there. And I just always, when guys are arguing with me, I had to go, why haven't they given him a long-term deal? And then you have to ask yourself, how is he going to get to a long-term deal? The amount of money that could be on the table for him if he can stay healthy. I remember that question a couple of years ago. We said it was Stafford when he went to the Rams, that he had to win a Super Bowl. So we thought he had a lot of pressure in that particular season. So I think Tua is a good answer if you forget any other position but quarterback, because the quarterbacks have all the pressure anyway. Who else has pressure on them that's going to – well, there's a lot of pressure in San Francisco about Trey Lance. If the young kid's not ready and they don't play him and they play Sam Darnold, the club's going to have a lot of pressure on them. They have not proven the guy can play, and they gave up a lot. So I see pressure in the front office and the coaches a little bit more than the players. But I like the Tua answer. I'm sure you guys have a different answer, though.
We both answered Russell Wilson. As far as the quarterback that David and I both think has the most pressure on him heading into this year, we both went Russ.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that answer. I think that's a very good answer. And I don't think Sean Payton, who did not sign him, is going to feel the allegiance to him. If he doesn't get going, he's going to be looking to get away from him. You could make a case that Derek Carr's got a bunch of pressure on him. How much pressure do you think's on Aaron Rodgers?
Well, that's where this all started with me, Pat, because when I heard a report when someone said Tua, I just said, I don't even know if he has the most pressure on him in his division. I think when you enter the season and it's Super Bowl or bust, that to me is a lot of pressure, Pat. I don't know about you. That to me is a lot of pressure.
Yeah, the thing that why I wouldn't make him I agree that he's got pressure on him, but I also think he could walk away from the game. Tua really, at this point, doesn't want to walk away from the game. He wants to grow this out and have a long career, so he's going to feel the pressure of this. And how's he going to handle himself? Is he going to throw faster? I don't know if guys ever really get really great at that when they're not great at it. Is he going to really try to run? He's no runner. So he's going to have to answer this. And it's funny down there. They don't blame the line, do they? Now, we've seen quarterbacks get hurt, and the line takes most of the heat. This guy is taking the heat himself. So some guy calls me the other day and goes, he only had 3 sacks where he was injured. First off, I've been laughing about the concept of falling. I had a jiu-jitsu guy on, and he said, jiu-jitsu is a ground combat. It has nothing to do with teaching you how to fall. And it was a jiu-jitsu guy, followed by half of my callers, which I found out took jiu-jitsu. So when I took issue with the word fall, you don't fall as a quarterback. You get driven into the ground by people trying to kill you.
A quarterback that we had on our list, we can only have 4 answers on our poll questions that we post. He was on it, and then he was our final cut. Deshaun Watson. He was given largely a mulligan last year, but it's been 2 full years since he's played at an elite level. Either he produces it this year or the Browns made a huge mistake, didn't they?
Yeah, and they can't get out of it. That's the point about pressure, again, on the owner who really pulled off this deal. But you think about it, he's got a low cap number this year. He's only 7% of the cap. But next year, his salary goes from the $1 million range to $46 million, and fully guaranteed, as we all know. So, yeah, but the money why I wouldn't put him as the top guy, and I think it's good that you dropped him, is that the pressure's on ownership. They're stuck with him. They can't move him if he plays bad. And they're going to have to pay him $46 million a year, I believe, for the next 3 years past this. So that's where the pressure is on them. Of course, the owner's not going to fire himself.
And the other one we have on our list that's getting a lot of votes on the poll questions, Dak Prescott, Pat. And certainly the Cowboys, I don't know where you want to put the pressure point, but we got about a minute left. But, Pat, is the more pressure on Dak or on ownership or GM, or is it all of the above there?
I think it's all of the above. But, as I think about it, and if I saw the list, I might have picked Dak over Tua. Because the Dallas Cowboy quarterback position has always been a tremendous pressure position. And now that Philadelphia is so good and Dak's contract says he's not going anywhere, I might pick Dak for the most pressure. That fan base they don't even like him that much. It's 50-50 at best when the fans call in.
Well, and the owner has pretty much said, I'm going to determine how much I like everyone as to how the 2023 season goes.
Oh, I hope he likes us. I'm going to ask him.
He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains. More with Pat on the other side.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
While talking with my friends Jason and Todd with the Diamond District, the 4th of July came up, and Todd was like,
Jason, the Diamond District is celebrating 20 years in business. Let's give something away for free this 4th of July.
Then Jason, with that aha look on his face, said,
Todd, I had the perfect idea. I was wearing my Bose audio sunglasses at the pool the other day and loved the feel, the look, and the sound. Let's do this. With a purchase of $500 or more, we'll give a pair of these sweet sounding shades away.
It didn't take Todd long to agree.
Jason, you're brilliant. Who wouldn't want Bose audio sunglasses? And for a purchase of $500 or more, it's a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. Now through the 4th of July, free Bose audio sunglasses with your purchase of $500 or more from the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Pat, and I can't think of her first name now, but Ryan Vessey's wife there, I ran into her on Saturday and talked about how much you liked the showcase and made her day.
Yep. She did a great job. She really kind of organizes the receptions and all that stuff.
Right.
Really first class the way she did it. She's nice. I heard her father was a friend of mine. He was a baseball coach on Long Island.
Oh, really?
Yeah, crazy man. He coached New York Tech, a couple colleges. Just a character. Really funny.
I think she was a college athlete too.
Yep. She grew up on Long Island and went to Catholic High School, Sacred Heart up there.
Their oldest is a really good lacrosse player. The middle one's an exceptional athlete at everything. And the gene pool's there.
The gene pool is absolutely there. Hey, you know what pisses me off? Like the NFL letting that, when they say they sold out the game in Germany in 15 minutes, that's total bullshit. We all know what happened. Those tickets were bought up commercially, and now the fans are going to have to go to Ticketmaster. This is like a Taylor Swift concert. What happened to like the Bills get 25,000 tickets? to sell to their fans.
Well, I don't think the NFL wants Bills season ticket holders to fly over. Don't they want people over in Europe to
Yeah,
attend
they
the
do.
games?
Yeah, but all those people are now going to pay double for those seats.
Yeah,
it's horrendous. Greed is really annoying to me. And the same, like my wife and I like to go to country concerts. And I called the second, like Jason Aldean. She wanted to see Jason. So I called the second that thing opened up, and they was already all the seats out of about maybe 50 in the whole stadium up at Saratoga were, you got to go to Ticketmaster. Come on. And then how about Buffalo? Building a new stadium, 3,000 seats short of their fan base, which is rabid. I don't get these things.
The thing that bothers me more, because I understand sometimes, you want to make it slightly smaller, but a lot nicer, wider concourses, more restrooms, the whole deal. Okay, fine, whatever. Or more suites. We can make more with the suites than we can with, 2,000 general admission. All right, whatever. But for the Bills, and the Pagulas are great people. They've done a lot of charitable work.
Yes.
A lot of charitable work.
The biggest charitable act they did was staying in Buffalo.
Yes. Okay. When that franchise would be worth.
You know what
3
that
times
was
more.
worth if that franchise went to LA?
Yeah, it was worth 4 times more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, they've done literally hundreds of millions in charity in multiple communities. I am shocked, however, that they're doing PSLs. I'm absolutely shocked.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. And I say it on the air, I would never buy a PSL. Never. I love football, but I don't love being taken advantage of.
Especially when you consider that the taxpayers of New York are footing almost $1 billion of that price tag. And now you're hitting, and not only that, they know. I mean, come on, upstate New York's been hit hard in the last 30 years economically. They've lost most of their major industries. I mean, to ask that fan base for PSLs, I mean, that's as blue collar an NFL fan base as there is.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of how it's turning out. So as great as the Pagulas are, and I understand there's lots of issues there, and Mrs. Pagula's hurting.
Sick,
but
right.
Really, really sick.
Yeah.
So it's very disappointing
Yes.
that they thought this is the way to go with it.
Yeah.
And
I'm shocked, actually. I really am.
Nothing surprises me anymore when they have a chance to make more money.
Me either.
They try every angle they can come up with.
You're damn right. Because this just in, people still pay.
I don't know how long that's going to last.
Well, we've been saying that for 20 years on this show almost, Pat.
Yeah, I've been saying it for that long too, but and I know where it is right now, but I told you a lot of Jet fans called when they forced the 2-season.
10 seconds.
They basically were paying for Rodgers. So the guys didn't do it.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan, he of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat's weekly appearance during the offseason brought to us courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and many places in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Hey, we've spent a decent amount of the show today talking about Ohtani. And we wondered, when is there going to be a baseball player that's even good enough that an organization is going to let them try to pitch and hit? Do you think we'll ever see a football player good enough that, hell, a major college, we've seen a few, but that an NFL team will let the player play both ways, pull a Dion, if you will, who wasn't a full-time offensive guy, but was used on offense? Do you think we'll ever see an NFL team allow a player to play both ways?
Yeah, I think there's some creative guys. At least Sean Payton might do it. It was always interesting to me what he would have done with Taysom Hill after the quarterback part of him, didn't work out. And I wondered if he was ever going to use him as a pass rusher. I mean, he's a physical guy, can get upfield. So I do think it'll happen. And I think, Belichick seems to always prepare for it. He cross-trains a lot of guys, a lot meaning like 3 or 4, and then uses them in emergencies. But I think if he had a chance, Edelman played some defense at one point.
Well, Troy Brown actually was a key player for them playing defense in a Super Bowl year.
Yep. And I was there when Mangini was cross-training him, and he stayed after practice and worked on the defensive part. The way they did it up there was interesting. It was like you're on offense all day at practice, and when practice is over, we'll keep a bunch of the scout kids out here. We're going to teach you to play slot corner. And they didn't do a lot of coverage calls. They like to send them a little bit. But he told me, he said, my job was to not let anyone run a crossing route. Just wall off the crosser and get into some zone. Do I think they could do it full time? I don't think anyone physically can handle 60 minutes of football. Do I think they could have a pass rush role for a guy to go along with whatever his offensive assignments are? Yeah, I think they should be able to do that.
And I think to get to, what you're talking about, David and Pat, I'm just curious with the rules of practice and how much time you have, if you actually could get the work done necessary to get a player to play both ways.
Well, I think some positions require less time than others. So running back, really, they don't do a lot at practice. There's only about 6 or 7 run plays. So if that guy had another skill, call it strong safety, then I think you'd have to spend most of your practice time on the safety and not on the running back. That one works for me. If you're a man-to-man defense, you might have a wide receiver that could, a big physical receiver could play press corner. Teach him to press. Pete Carroll teaches these guys to press the way he wants it done in a few days. And if you thought, I got a guy who can flip his hips, he can jam and funnel a guy outside, and when the ball's in the air, he's going to catch it. I think that one's possible.
I just saw a DeAndre Hopkins list of teams and like who should sign him. The Browns are on it, Carolina's on it, New England's on it. Who do you think needs him the most?
Cleveland. They're in that division, way the race is, what's going on. Buffalo's got Diggs, whether you like him or not. I thought some of the comments made by the quarterback the other day were hysterical, talking about Sheffield. He goes, "Oh yeah, we love him. He doesn't complain. He just works hard. He just does what he's told." I think, was he talking to Diggs or is he talking to the guy interviewing him? So I do think Cleveland is the right place. They're not going to do it though, I don't think. Look, he went to 2 places. I don't think he really wants to go to either one of them. He was shopping. And if I was New England and now he's gone a week without doing anything, I would be saying to him, hey, we'll throw another $1 million in our offer from when you were here, and then you got 5 days. I would not sit around being the bargaining chip for a bigger deal. That's what he's really trying to do. So you got to make him come to you. That's the only way now to do it. You're going to wait. You're going to hold your breath and hope someone has more than I have on the table. Here's an extra $1 million if you come now. Otherwise, we're taking it off the table. Because it is getting to the point where you can see from the Patriot fans, they're already turning on the guy, and all he's trying to do is shop his wares.
Well, that tells you he doesn't really want the Patriots, and the Patriots aren't the team that typically puts another $1 million to sign someone, are they?
They did it with Gilmore. Remember when they got Stephon Gilmore? That was like the first time Bill dropped big money on a guy. So I think that Bill realizes his quarterback he needs a guy. The need factor's there. Now the kid, Hopkins, may not look at the quarterback as good enough for him to get his 120 receptions. But I'm New England. I'm going to put a line in the sand right now. And you guys probably disagree with me on that, but force him to say yes or no, but don't let him hang on like that.
Is Brock Purdy good enough, or was there a little magic carpet ride to what he did last year? I mean, the Brady story is remarkable enough. I mean, it's pretty unusual for the last guy in the draft to perform the way he did. Pat, you like to say it takes NFL teams, a good 4 games to finally catch on. the Niners offense is such that there's a lot of onus off of the quarterback. So can they win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy?
Well, it's a great story, and I mean, it's a Hollywood movie, but I think he is good enough. And I had to see him do it. Do I think he can sustain that? I think it's more about the elbow. Jimmy Miller talks about that. He got the minor surgery, and Jim didn't like that at all. He thought he should have got the full Tommy John and taken the whole year off. But he went for the fast deal to get back. And, this isn't baseball. You're getting hit in your throwing arm. Your arm is exposed, and you're getting hit a lot. So that's the part I don't know. But as a player, yes, he's good enough.
I wonder the same thing about Geno Smith. David and I had this discussion either yesterday or the day before that in Seattle, and I know you're close with Pete and talk to them. If he maintains at the level he's at, that's a pretty good football team. I don't know if he can.
Well, he survived a year with 2 rookie tackles, and he got hit enough, and his accuracy was ridiculously good, and his arm strength was never a problem, and he's got great technique to go along with accuracy. What he was from the neck up, he wasn't mature. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't really understand the concepts that he was supposed to understand, but he's a lot different now. And so Pete thinks he can play. And everyone keeps away. He's got that little contract. They can walk away from him. Yeah, I don't know if they want to walk away from him. They certainly don't think anyone else there is ready to take his job. So could he do it for 2 years? I think looking past that, he's in his 30s now. I would say yes, he can. Do I think they could win the division? Yeah, I do.
They have sneaky retooled that roster. I mean, that offense, if Geno Smith, Pat, we got 30 seconds. If he plays this year like he played last year, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, the line's a year older, that could be a good offensive team.
It can be. And they've done a little more retooling on the defensive front. No more Poona Ford, the 5'10" tackle. They've got people in there now, so they're pretty excited, and they're hoping this draft is the same as last year's draft, where they got 5 starters out of it. If they get that, if they get 2 or 3 starters out of that, they're going to be, as you said, retooled with a lot of young guys. And Geno doesn't make any money in the world of quarterbacks.
And they're in the right conference, goodness knows. They are in the right conference. He's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekdays 3 to 7 Eastern, also part of CBS's NFL Today show, and they've got the Super Bowl this upcoming season, which starts in 71 days, by the way, Pat. 10 weeks tomorrow.
You really enjoy saying that to me all the time.
Yeah.
You rub it in pretty hard.
Yeah, well, you beat me about the head and chest all year, so I got to have something on you. Your vacation time.
In 72 days, you're going to be on the plane, too, going somewhere. I hope your flight's not delayed.
It will be. I'm heading to Newark. It'll definitely be delayed. He's Pat Kirwan, joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers here on Miller and Moulton. Seth Everett on the other side as this Hump Day show continues on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, man, I like the moves your hockey team's making.
Yeah, me too. Pumped.
I think you should send. I think you should go try to send Vanacek to Winnipeg and take Hollowbeck off their hands. And I know it'll cost you some more money, but you've got it. And
I don't disagree.
And I think that if the Schmidt guy is your number 2 goalie, I think you're in great shape in nets.
Good shape. I'm with you. I was on Zoom with Toffoli last night. He's great. I was stunned. Thrilled. Is it October yet?
They released the schedule yesterday.
I know. I sent it to my kids at camp because I was like, let's talk. Let's plan dates. Let's plan road trips.
How far is it for you to get to a game? How long does it take you to get to a Devils game? Are you really close?
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like 11 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a big state. I don't know exactly where you are.
Oh, no. To here, 11 minutes. What we were talking about is like, what's Christmas break like?
Right. No. I got you. I just was curious how close you were to home games.
Yeah. After the Florida experience, we want to do something else, but we want to do it at somewhere different, so we're looking, and it has to coincide with one of their breaks and, what their school schedule.
No, it doesn't. Come on. Play hooky for a few days. Give me a break.
Hey, don't twist my arm.
You're so funny, Seth. You don't understand. I was trying to leave a day early to go to my buddy's place in the other coast. I can do the show from a bedroom.
Yep.
And my wife was like, she's got perfect attendance this year. We're not going to screw that up. I'm like, it's
what?
It's 3rd grade. Who cares
about that? No.
She was so fired up that my daughter went to every day of school. My daughter's sitting right here with me in the studio right now. I'm babysitting this morning.
You get no gold star for that.
You didn't care, did you? You'd have missed today.
On the show, save time for the podcast. I have 2 great stories about him. Sports with Friends guest might be listening to your show. He's a listener. He's a regular listener. Derek Lowe.
Oh, we love D-Lo.
I haven't had D-Lo on in forever.
He, I'll tell this on Twitch. I will not tell this on the radio. I met him at a club in 2002. And the details of that night cannot be said even on the Twitch stream. And in the middle of the recording, mid-answer, he remembered where we met.
That's outstanding.
Oh, it was so much fun. I had so much fun talking to Derek Lowe. I cannot even tell you.
I did a event that Lowe was at, and there was an auction.
Yeah.
And there was something that I could afford, and he decided he was going to bid on it. And it's like, really? Really, Derek? There's nothing else you can bid on today, huh? I'm not going to win this. I'm going to drive the price up, and you're just going to throw your, up right on the table, and you're going to win.
He was always cool, but we used to have a joke that every interview with him never lasted more than 4.5 minutes. Like, you never talked to him for a long time.
That's very true.
Fact that I got 40 minutes out of him, I was very impressed.
I'm impressed too, because sometimes segments were tough with Derek.
Yeah. He was great. He, but the funniest is the interview, like the segment where I edited it meticulously, but he's in the middle and he's talking about launch angle, and he's like, I don't know if my pitching style, Daisy Buchanan's. It was so fun. And then Hall of Justice is wild. It's this guy, the executive producer of every Batman film from Michael Keaton to Robert Pattinson.
That's a good get.
This is a lot better than when you were, promoting the anti-Semitism guest. I have to admit, I'm a lot more fired up about this.
Yeah, that podcast, we're 4 down.
Okay. Is it doing well?
I haven't checked. I'm not checking. I wait like 6-8 episodes before I even look.
Gotcha.
I don't. Yeah. But it's every 2 weeks, so it's like it gets out of my mindset and then back into my mindset. I forget about it. But yeah, and Hall of Justice, I have 9 Hall of Justices recorded.
10 seconds.
Good
That's
deal.
crazy.
Good deal.
And 3 Sports with Friends.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, our final segment along the network. In Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte to Venice. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits in the 239 at the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, Florida Sports Network. Wednesdays at this time, reserved for Seth Everett, have been for, well, hell, over a decade. He of Sports with Friends and Hall of Justice is 2 tremendous podcasts. He does others, they're below average. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett, Seth_Everett. He is in a New Jersey Devils t-shirt this morning. His favorite hockey team is having a very nice offseason, to say the least. He's fired up. The schedule came out yesterday, buddy. You planning out games?
I know. Is it October yet? I'm ready for this summer to be over. My kids have been gone for 4 days. It's weird. It's a weird feeling. My kids have been gone. So, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm bouncing off the walls. It's weird.
Do you miss them?
Do you have projects in the summer with them gone? Does the wife establish projects for you, or do you have a honey-do list, or are you just on easy street for the summer?
No, we have a very shared mentality. We like to purge. So we like to take stuff that they don't remember that they have and just get rid of it before they get back.
Wait a minute. You purge their stuff, not your stuff. I mean, as I look behind you and see all kinds of books and record albums and
no, this is meticulous. No. It's their crap that is all over the place. They have a toy kitchen. They're 11 and 14. They're not playing with a toy kitchen. That thing's going to be on our front lawn. First person, first come, first serve.
Did you ever make a big mistake? Did you ever get rid of something and they came back and they absolutely lost it?
No, and they don't even know that it's gone.
They're going to know the toy kitchen's gone.
They're not going to know. They're not going to care.
No, caring is one thing.
No, right now the toy kitchen's purpose is they place their phone there so they can record TikToks.
You're on to something. And my daughter's actually in studio with me this morning, and I always try to throw her stuff away, and she never realizes some of these things are gone.
Yeah,
we were at the beach the other day. She's picking up broken shells. I'm like, what the hell are we going to do with 14 more broken shells that you're going to leave on a shelf that I'm going to throw away the first time you turn your head?
Yeah. We're big purgers. That's our summer thing. We like to get rid of stuff. We'd like to get rid of the house one day, but we'll hold off on that.
Yeah, move to Florida, just like half the country, apparently.
Yep.
Seth Everett,
Boca Vista.
Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. Hey, can you help me out? There are things that you're into that we're not. One of them is this whole e-racing thing. They just
you
signed
saw the press release yesterday?
Yeah, they signed like a network TV deal. It's just like, Mark and I, we understand pickleball's becoming more, a more popular
Pickleball
activity.
is stupid. I hope you guys agree. Pickleball is dumb.
Yeah, we don't understand the whole
participatory sport. It's not anything that ever deserves to be on television. We don't need to watch it.
It's wiffle ball on a tennis.
You want to go play ping pong with a wiffle ball? Knock yourself out.
Right. Like, we don't understand why that's being televised. Just because it's a popular leisurely activity doesn't mean anybody would want to see anybody play it. This e-racing, is this really going to be a thing? Is this something Miller and Moulton are going to have to talk about?
Well, it's season 9, and I've been covering it since season 5. Formula E is run by the same group that covers Formula 1. The first time I covered a Formula E race was in Paris, France, when I did a podcast with Sir Richard Branson. It is the only sport in existence that's actually going to change the world. The idea, they're in their Generation 3 cars. The idea is the teams have to design batteries that regenerate energy while you're trying to win a race. So, for example, in any kind of an auto race, if you're driving up the right side and you have a chance to pass the guy, on the guy's left, you may not want to waste the battery because you might not be as efficient on your battery. You have to look to make sure that you save your battery so that you can finish the race. I've seen races where the guy in first doesn't finish and finishes in ninth because he ran out of battery. It's an incredible strategy. I find the whole thing fascinating. And the batteries that they're inventing to win these Fakakta races are going to be the ones that are in our cars in the future. It's a fascinating sport. Formula E is a wonderful sport. I love it. I've done podcasts with these guys. The drivers are wonderful. The team owners are great. They left New York. They're not in New York anymore. They raced this past weekend in Portland, Oregon. They had a sold-out race, and they're doing 15 races, and they just signed a deal with CBS. They extended their existing deal with CBS Sports Network, and now they added a Roku part of it, but that's okay because I have a VPN and I watch it on the BBC, and it's great. Formula E is wonderful.
Let's see. Formula E, Roku, and CBS Sports Network just introduced 3 things to our audience that they've maybe never heard of before.
Yeah, but if you like auto racing, this is auto racing that doesn't sound all the cars sound like Knight Rider. How's about that?
Which Seth, if you think about it, the car fan, one of the things that they like more than anything else,
the noise. I know.
Is the noise.
I know. I was never an auto racing person. I went to this race in Paris, France. I thought it was cool as can be, and it was awesome. And then I covered another race, and I think I've covered 8 races. I think I've been to 8 races. COVID kind of threw off my rhythm there, and I love it. I think it's wonderful. I watch every race. The races usually in Europe, they're on early in the morning on the weekends, and I happen to be up, so I watch it.
Well, the reason I mentioned it, besides the fact that I knew you were into it and you would discuss what went on this week, is, we have talked about it, that racing is fascinating in this respect. We're not buying cars anymore in this country. Haven't been for a while. Hell, they're not making many cars anymore in this country. That was one of the big selling points to NASCAR. Win on Sunday, buy on Monday. So therefore, how much appeal is NASCAR going to have going forward when those could be the last 40 cars left in the country, if you know what I mean? At least that take Petro someday.
Well, what I have looked at in terms of their growth, their European growth is 300% over the last 4 years since I've started covering it. They've gone into Jakarta. They've gone all over the place. In terms of where they're going to races, and good for them. I think it's neat. They've changed over their whole personnel. I used to know their CEO very well. He left during COVID. They've had a lot of changeover, but the whole idea of them is they have 2 things. Number one, they are trying to grow as in popularity like any sport would, but they have another alternative. Are the teams, Audi's part of this, Mercedes is part of this, Nissan's part of this, all these teams, are they taking the technology that they are spending millions on to win these races and then putting it into the cars that you and I can drive? That, I think, is the future. And electric cars are wonderful. I drive an electric car. I love electric cars, and that's why I think Formula E is really cool. When I was at Forbes, I wrote a column that said Formula E, the only sport that can actually change the world.
And I mean, David, I love driving a golf cart, so I'm sure I'd like an electric car. It'd be just a faster golf cart.
Well, my wife, she'll stay with me if I can, get her a pink blinged out golf cart. I mean, that's apparently,
maybe we'll see her in a Formula E car driving around the neighborhood one day.
No
that
doubt.
would be bling.
They had Lindsey Vonn test driving a car over the weekend in Portland. They also had Jaden Smith. That made me turn it off. But other than that, it was good.
You wanted us to save a little more time than normal.
Yeah.
Because, we mentioned your 2 podcasts, and, we're hoping that a couple of our listeners actually download them.
We
Sports
hope
with
so.
Friends, Hall of
This
Justice.
one you're going to like. Yeah.
Right. So apparently you said you needed a little more time than usual to talk about them. Okay. I'm always scared when you ask for more time, because the last time you did that, we had to talk about anti-Semitism for 3 minutes. So I'm hoping it's a little more upbeat.
It's more upbeat.
Okay.
Former World Series champion, former Boston Red Sox idiot, self-proclaimed, Derek Lowe, Fort Myers own. The great Derek Lowe. He is participating in the American Century Championship in mid-July, July 12th in Lake Tahoe. And every year they send me a list. They say, hey, these are some of the guys that are participating. Who would you like to speak to? And Derek Lowe. Oh my God, Derek Lowe. I met Derek Lowe in 2002 when I was with Major League Baseball. And I've always had a great relationship with him. We lost touch, obviously, over the years. And it was great to reconnect. We reminisced. It was just a fantastic conversation. I was transported back. It's one thing to interview greats of the past. But for me, this was a guy that I considered him a contemporary. We're like the same age. And it was such a thrill to talk to him. He collected a jersey from every team he played with. The one team that wouldn't give him a jersey. What team was it?
The Red Sox.
The Yankees.
Oh,
I could see that.
You got to play for more than 6 weeks and you don't get a jersey. I was like, that's cheap. Lame. But yeah, we talked about all his old teammates. He talked a lot about how he doesn't think his style of pitching would work today because everybody throws 100, and he threw 88, 92 and was a ground ball pitcher.
Well, here's what I would be curious about, whether or not, and I don't know if you got into this because it's probably a boring topic, but he was a sinker ball pitcher. And obviously guys are more uppercutting more now than ever before.
We do.
So to me, he would either be incredibly more effective because they would miss his sinker by a wider margin, or that the uppercutting of today would actually get him.
Well, he talks about that. He talks about why he got traded for Heathcliff Slocum and how Lou Piniella, who is a guy I consider a mentor.
Right.
Well, Derek Lowe was a good guy. Couldn't throw hard. He talked about how there were just some people that didn't like guys that didn't throw hard. And so what Derek Lowe's point in the podcast, and he expands on this a great deal, but what he says is he just never would have ascended, because unless you throw hard, your scouts don't catch on to you. And whether it would work, it's an interesting theory that a sinker ball pitcher would work, but how would he get there? Because unless you're throwing hard, you're not advancing up the levels.
I know it's, getting people out apparently isn't enough anymore.
Well, there was a little bashing of baseball, but it was mostly him. It was, I was very well behaved. I didn't have Derek Lowe on to bash baseball.
Good.
But it came up. He definitely, he doesn't watch baseball nearly as much as he used to. And he explained why. He explained what he can't take anymore. And he talked about that. He talked about going back to Boston and he gets a hero's welcome. He talked about how his life changed from 2004. That was kind of neat. It was kind of neat to see, all these years later, what did 2004 do for him? It was crazy. Great interview.
Seth, do you still have the steel trap to remember 2004 like it was yesterday, or do you have to go back and? Okay.
Yeah, stuff that I was at. Yeah, like it was yesterday. I remember 01, 02, 03, 04 like it was yesterday, because I thought those four were historic, amazing series. 01 is a classic series, Diamondbacks, Yankees. 02, the Angels and the Giants. I remember Troy Percival facing Bonds, with nobody on, throwing him fastball. 03, Josh Beckett, the day before I was going to have to miss Game 7 because my sister was getting married. I'm still mad about that. And then, of course, 04, the Yankee Red Sox Classic ALCS.
A lot of people forget Low pitch Game 7.
Oh, of course, he won.
Yeah.
He won the deciding game all three
Yeah,
rounds that year.
Exactly. But, people, because it ended up being a blowout. But one of the great things heading into that game, both pitchers were considered question marks. Kevin Brown, Derek Lowe. Shilling the bloody sock was game 6. D-Lo was game 7. All right. You got 30 seconds. Go.
Well, Hall of Justice is an icon in that genre. A gentleman by the name of Michael Uslan. I'll make an analogy for you guys. You can say he is to Batman what Dan Silna and the Spirits of St. Louis is to sports. Dan Silna made the deal to get NBA TV money in perpetuity. He got the Batman film rights in 1979 forever. He has been the executive producer of every Batman movie from Michael Keaton in 1989 to Robert Pattinson last year. That encompasses Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, all 3 movies, all the Ben Affleck movies, everything. It's a 2-part episode because there's so much to cover. And I asked him, here's something I tried to ask him off the beaten path. Did you ever think about a Christopher Reeve, Michael Keaton crossover?
Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. Seth, continue to enjoy your kids being at camp, both of them for the final time. And we'll talk to you next week. Have a happy 4th. Miller and Moulton, have a great rest of your Wednesday. The bonus hour's next.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
We declared our independence in 1776 and have been celebrating the 4th of July with concerts, parades, fireworks, and new sunglasses ever since.
Todd, I'm not sure they had sunglasses back then, but let's go with that since the Diamond District can't have a concert, parade, or fireworks in the store and want to celebrate. So this 4th of July, with a purchase of $500 or more, you'll receive free Bose audio sunglasses.
That's right. With any purchase of $500 or more, now through the 4th of July, the Diamond District will give you free Bose audio sunglasses. Listen to your favorite music by the pool, while running, or walking the beach.
Visit the Diamond District now through the 4th of July for your free Bose audio sunglasses with purchase of $500 or more. Only at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The Diamond District bonus hour as we head into the July 4th weekend. We will be off Monday and Tuesday of next week through the 4th. I'll be back on Wednesday. Mark's going to be out of town. I don't know. I think you should take the week off. Okay. You seem hell-bent on wanting to do a show, but
done. I'll leave the equipment right at home. I'll see you a week from Monday then.
I think you should. I think you've earned it. We touched on it very early in the show, but what would you do if you were, running an athletic department for a Division I school? The NCAA came out yesterday and said, our bylaws, they outrank your state laws. When in the real world, they don't. So I'm not kidding, though. I mean, they can penalize you.
Sport.
Well, yeah, until you win in court, which we're going to win in court. But we all know it's going to take 2-3 years. We're going to win. But between now and winning, we could lose, wins, scholarships, probation, money. It depends. If the new guy running the NCAA, is this his line in the sand? We haven't had the NCAA draw a line in the sand in a long time. And when they did, they went to the Supreme Court and they lost 9-0. I mean, honestly, what do? You're running a Division I athletic department right now. The association has been clear and maintains that schools must adhere to NCAA legislation or policy when it conflicts with permissive state laws.
I'm not trying to bypass this. This is a little above our pay grade because it would seem to me that if I'm an NCAA member institution that I have to follow the NCAA's rules. That I couldn't say, I don't like your rules. I'm going to follow the rules that are in the state of Florida. That doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Yeah, but I mean, the legal community is like, the NCAA bylaws do not overrun state law. Just like state law doesn't overrun federal law. I mean, there is a hierarchy to this. The legal community is pretty clear. They're laughing at this, actually. They're like, the NCAA bylaws don't overrun actual laws. That's a bylaw is not a law.
No, it's not a law, David. But is it a rule under which member institutions have to play under?
Well, and they do until the NCAA gets properly slapped in the face. But until they get slapped in the face, that's why I'm asking you. This is a joke. I mean, this is a joke. But do you have to adhere to the joke until, it's no longer a joke? And you could go, you guys are idiots. I'm never listening to you again. Can't believe I listened to you this time. See, that's the other thing. I'm surprised. This new NCAA president, he's a politician. I mean, this is his first thing, Mark, that he's going to draw the line in the sand over, something in which his own lawyers have got to be telling him, no, we're going to lose this, I mean, you're going to draw the line in the sand. The first thing you're going to take a stand on, we're going to be fools. We're going to lose this. I don't know. I'm just curious. We come into a meeting. You're the boss once again, and I'm a coach, and I got this, and I got NIL set up. I'm the money guy. I'm like, what are you talking about? We're not doing that. I got a car dealer. I got this. I got that.
Well, we got some states that are paying high school kids NIL. We got some states they can't make it while they're in high school. We have run amok with the different rules that we have.
Yes, absolutely. We have 6 states in which all the NIL deals are private. The NCAA wants to make every single one. The legislation Tuberville and Mencken are working on. Every NIL deal has to be public. We have 6 states that have already passed state law going, oh, no, those deals will never be made public. Now, I will say, if Tuberville and Mencken get it through the Senate and a president signs it, that overrides the 6 states. I was just curious. I mean, this is, if I'm running an athletic department, I'm like, what the are they talking about? Do you know the deals we have lined up?
Right. And as you mentioned, David, they still have whatever you may think of the NCAA, they still have the power to put you on probation.
You know, and they'll say, hey, we've got rules adopted by member schools. It's not fair to those schools who follow the rules to not enforce the rules against those who choose not to do so. Okay. And if you don't like it, basically work through NCAA governance process to change the rules. That's what the NCAA said.
I mean, NIL is not even supposed to be used as a recruiting tool. I mean, that's the first. I mean, you can laugh, but you know I'm right.
I know. I may need a few seconds. That's a long laugh. That's not a chuckle.
No. That's a full-on belly laugh. But those are the rules.
That's a pull the car over. I may need some time.
I got you.
Right. That's all. It's just, one of those things that's out. I couldn't imagine being high up in a Division I athletic department yesterday. Like, what the? Who am I supposed to listen to? I just lobbied my congressman. I just got one of our biggest boosters to pay off a state legislature to pass this thing, for goodness sakes. Now, make sure Charlie gets reelected. Make sure you get that NIL deal we're looking for. Okay. Now that I got it, I got to listen to Charles Baker or whatever the hell his name is. What? NCAA bylaws overrule state laws. Right. You tell that to my boosters. Oh, well, what happened in our recruiting class? I had to abide by the NCAA bylaws. Yeah, but our arch rivals, they're not. Well, supposedly they're going to get slapped pretty hard. Yeah, but in the meantime, they're going to kick our butt. I don't know what to tell you. We decided to adhere to the bylaws. Yeah, but they're adhering to the laws. I don't know.
The NCAA, for the first time ever, took NIL seriously yesterday.
Right.
They actually admitted that it's part of the process for their member institutions. I mean, that's really what I took out of it, David, is that they actually realized that the NIL laws have been passed and the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the athlete, not the schools.
I know we talk about this far more than I think most of our audience wants us to, but listen, there are things we're wrong about. We're right about this. This is the most important thing going on in major college athletics. It really is. This is the present and the future of college athletics. I had a buddy of mine the other day say to me, how in the world, even though the Big Ten's got this great TV contract and whatever it is the other conferences, however much money they could generate. I mean, look at how the SEC is kicking butt right now in athletics. I mean, it really is. Name a sport. And, the SEC is doing really well, even though the Pac-12 and the ACC won more national championships this year than did the SEC. But his question to me was, what in the world, even though certain conferences, the Big Ten, may get more money in a TV deal short term, what are these conferences going to be able to do to change what seems to be happening, which is more talent every year seems to be heading into the SEC in football? The divide seems to be getting bigger. Now, maybe that's wrong. I mean, TCU did play for the national title this year, maybe. And my answer was short and sweet, NIL. Because there are numerous coaches, Mark, who have been on the record in the last few months saying, we made a mistake investing in facilities. If we had kept that money in our pocket and paid that out on the open market, we'd have far more players than we do now. That kids will play basically in a hole if they're going to make $5,000 more. That's what many coaches who are out recruiting, that's the conclusion they're coming to. It is.
Because everybody right now everybody has spent so much money on facilities. There's no real difference. These guys are all playing in better facilities than they will on Saturdays and they will on Sundays for the most part. So now what are you going to pay me? What's the difference in what I get?
And coaches now, or I forget what school it was. It might have been Michigan State. I thought one of their coaches came out and said, we just had a major facilities upgrade in the last 2 to 3 years. If we had kept that money and used it for NIL right now, we'd be killing it. Because we've been, that's just a fact of life. If at $5,000 to $25,000 more a year, we'd get basically everybody we would want. And I'm just wondering if once again, we're running a major athletic department. Is that it's what I'd be advocating, Mark. You're the boss. I'd be saying, Mark, our chance is paying the player more than who we're competing against.
Then you got to change the rules, because the money you get technically from the TV networks, you can't use for NIL. You got to use within your school. The NIL is a separate entity.
Exactly.
These laws that are getting put in place are going to put them under one umbrella.
Right.
And that's what you can see down the road, David.
But instead of putting, John Smith's name on the soccer stadium, okay, some people like their legacy. It's my, I'd say, John, to be honest with you, I need your money to give to athletes over the next 10 years. Okay. Yeah. Well, I want my name in lights. Okay. I just so you know, whatever. I'm just telling you, I'm not charging you the $2 million to put your name on the stadium, but I'm hitting you up for $2 million so we can buy players.
And to me, the next biggest question, David, is what you do with all the money these schools are getting. They can't build any more facilities. How much more money are they going to pay coaches? How do they end up taking the money they're getting from the networks and work that into NIL? And that's what I think part of this bill of putting them under one umbrella will end up doing down the road, because I think it will all come under the school at some point.
Well, that is Tuberville and Mencken, I believe. Part of their proposal is, instead of separating NIL from the university, no, joined at the hip. Oh, no, part of the university. Absolutely. And we'll know every dollar. It all has to be public. I mean, some parts of their bill look laughable to me. Some parts of it are like, yeah, that'd work. That'd be better.
And they're just getting started with this bill. Trust me, there'll be more by the time before we ever get to something that's finalized. But it's going to try to benefit the university.
Oh, yeah. It's not like they're listening to kids. It's not like kids are testifying to them in a Senate subcommittee. It's all ADs and coaches and presidents.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. You're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What do you think of Seacrest?
Let's do that here. Doesn't he have enough jobs?
I know, but he's this is such a great gig, though. Does B still carry his radio show? I just Felipe, do you know?
Say that one more time.
Does B103 still carry Seacrest's radio show?
I have no clue.
Do you know what B103 is?
Yeah, right down the hall.
Oh, hey, I think that's a very fair question to a 22-year-old who only listens to sports and podcasts. Come on.
I mean, again, they're right down the hall.
I understand that. Felipe, by the way, I'm going to put a piece of paper, like a sticky note in my car, because now every time I see one of your vehicles, I look to see who's driving.
You're going to keep score?
Yeah, it's an 80-20 ratio, women to men, and I find most of the men to be old.
Yeah. Not a lot of young guys. Every time I see a young guy, though, I point, and they usually point back.
Okay. Yeah!
Stop at a red light. Next to me is a young guy driving my car. I stop and I point, and every single time they're like, hey.
Time has proven me right in that statement. Still a good car. I'm not. You don't understand. I drove a chick car. I had an FJ Cruiser. It is 100% a chick car. I loved that car.
Not a chick car. Okay, it's kind of a chick car. It's a great car, though. It is Toyota's Jeep.
Exactly. It was a fun car to drive. Bad blind spots, but a fun car. Halfway done with my truck. I'm so happy. You can't wait to get rid of that thing.
You leased it?
Yeah.
Oof.
Why?
Oh, no. I think leases are a terrible deal.
Why?
I just think you end up paying more, but maybe not. Maybe they're the smart way to go. I could never convince myself to do it. I thought it was... But you do drive newer vehicles all the time.
Here we go.
As long as you don't drive a lot of miles, it's a very smart way to go with the car.
Well, then I should do it.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, the Diamond District bonus hour of Miller and Moulton. They've got a little July 4th sales special thing going on between now and the 4th. Spend $500. Get the Bose glasses to go with it. Mention Miller and Moulton. Get an additional 10% off. How about that? See, we're finally good for something. To all the guys listening, all the women in their life, when they get in the car and the sports station's on and you turn us up and they go, because believe me, Miller and Moulton have gotten that reaction hundreds of times over the years. We meet a couple out and the guy's happy to see us and the woman looks at us like, so you guys are the voice on the car radio, huh? Great.
What's more, what we get more wives because it's couples. What do we get more displeasure from, though? The wives who are stuck listening or the kids that are stuck listening with dad in the car?
See, the reaction that I remember from kids in the last few years is they just put, some headphones on or whatever, and then they just tune us out. They go, kind of give us, like a half a nod, kind of like, oh yeah, my dad's talked about you guys. I remember one stupid thing you guys said. That's kind of the reaction I remember getting from the 8 to 12-year-old.
Well, and you can win the kid over because if they show up with that, when we used to do like the remotes and be out on the street somewhere, if dad shows up and the kid's there, you give the kid a t-shirt, you've won the kid over. He got something for free.
Now, see, Arch is really picking up my spirits here. He says, my wife is not into sports and she likes listening to you guys. Wow. Arch, give me your name and number. Hey, we make fun of ourselves because between the two of us, we've had a lot of jobs over the years. Did you see Ryan Seacrest got another gig?
Holy cow. Give somebody else a chance, dude. Dick Clark looked down from up above and went, Ryan, come on. How many jobs is enough?
If by chance you missed the news yesterday, he's going to replace Sajak. I mean, this isn't for like another year, right?
Right.
Doesn't he go through at least April or May of next year?
Or another month of recording, however they're going to do it, David.
Yeah, well, my understanding is it's 1 day a week. They record the 6 shows in a day. So, Wheel of Fortune, it's still, rocking. 8+ million viewers a night. It's pretty darn good. I mean, that's as many people as watch the entire College World Series 3-game series between LSU and Florida. There are more people watch Wheel of Fortune tonight around America than watch that entire 3-game series.
Which did really well, by the way.
Outstanding.
The College World Series did huge numbers.
Yep.
In fact, everything college has done really good numbers. The softball did good numbers. College sports is blossoming again.
So, of course, he's still hosting American Idol. 21 years, by the way, American Idol. He's got the, it's just 1 day a year. The, Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest. I mean, it's just a day, but he's got that gig. He still has the national radio show.
Right.
I mean, is that still there in this market? I mean, it's daily, on air.
I don't listen to pop radio, so I don't know.
Right.
But
he still does America's Top 40. I mean, that's just a couple hours in a recording booth a week, but and I'm sure he's got one at home. So, but anyway, so On Air with Ryan Seacrest, that's a daily nationally syndicated radio show. It's got American Top 40. That's a weekly thing. He does American Idol still. That's a half a season. It's got the New Year's Eve gig. And beginning next spring or summer or whenever it is, By the way, the big controversy, Mark, apparently Vanna wanted the job. And obviously they no, that's not going to happen. Her contract's up when Sajak's leaving. And she's claimed she's been wildly underpaid and has not gotten a raise in years. How much do you think she makes?
Wait a minute. First off, isn't that on her?
Just saying,
I've
apparently.
been working these conditions have been awful. The weight of those letters has increased 10% and my pay has only increased 3%. Are you kidding me right now?
Mark, it's all about leverage, a change.
She had it for years.
Well, she thinks now she's got more because, hey, losing Pat Sajak's one thing. We can't lose Vanna also. So, she wants more money. How much do you think she's making a year, by the way?
Several million.
True.
5 to 8?
3.
3? Works 1 day a week?
That's my understanding, and they work around 46 weeks a year. So in theory, she works 46 days.
You know what? Adam brings up a great point. She hasn't turned a letter in like 15 years. She doesn't even have to turn a letter anymore. She stands there for $3 million.
Does she have to tap the letter, or does it light up for her?
It lights up for her.
Okay.
She really does nothing.
Well, it's true. She
For
used to have.
the longest time, she had to look good. She still looks good for her age.
Well,
she's an incredibly attractive woman for how old she is. And I mean, that usually in those jobs, they get rid of you for a younger, prettier one. So she's kept her job for a long time.
Yes. I'm just so if you were yes, and it's
Not
true.
really speak.
She used to have to know the answer to the puzzles because she had to go and turn the letter. It was on her. She couldn't have a spelling error and what have you. Right. There was a lot of pressure. Now they just
Anna or the red hat. I mean, come on. It's a pretty good gig.
I'd go Vanna.
You're damn right you would.
Makes a lot more money. So I'm just curious. You're running the show there. There's two trains of thought. It's like, man, losing Sajak's one thing. We can't lose Vanna. Or it's like, well, hey, if we're making change, we might as well make change. It's one or the other. And there's very little in between. Just which side would you fall on? If it's like, hey, if we're having a new era of wheel, let's have a new era.
I'd have a new era.
Really?
Yeah. I'd say so long to Vanna as well.
Wow. Cold.
I am.
I think, by the way, I would want to go famous, though. I wouldn't want to just, find the next Vanna White, if you will, somebody that we don't really know, and she turns into, a famous person because of the show she's on. I think I would want to find it'd be like, oh, they replaced Vanna with Selma Hayek. I just
who's going to take that job?
1 day a week, really? 1 day a week? First off, there's a writer's strike right now. We have no idea when they're going to act again. Secondly, a lot of actors have been turned into streaming and what have you. It's tough to find work these days. It's not like they're making movies anymore. All they're doing is remaking movies. So if you don't fit the mold, it's not like these great scripts are showing up at your door. Unless they're from Netflix or Apple Plus or Paramount. And I mean the streaming, not the movie division.
Is Seacrest married?
No.
He just dates young women. He's kind of like Leo, right? Why don't we just
no. He's had 2 long relationships. He was with Julianne Hough forever.
I was going to say whoever he's dating, we should just put on the show. Keep up with Ryan that way.
Could go with Sajak's daughter, by the way. She's filled in as host before.
Well, if she's host, she's not going to tapping letters. It's beneath her.
Really? 1 day a week? 3 million? 46 days a year? Really? Beneath her? 46 days for 3 million? Do the math.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
We declared our independence in 1776 and have been celebrating the 4th of July with concerts, parades, fireworks, and new sunglasses ever since.
Todd, I'm not sure they had sunglasses back then, but let's go with that since the Diamond District can't have a concert, parade, or fireworks in the store and want to celebrate. So this 4th of July, with a purchase of $500 or more, you'll receive free Bose audio sunglasses.
That's right. With any purchase of $500 or more, now through the 4th of July, the Diamond District will give you free Bose audio sunglasses. Listen to your favorite music by the pool, while running, or walking the beach.
Visit the Diamond District now through the 4th of July for your free Bose audio sunglasses with purchase of $500 or more. Only at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, Bray from Indy, here's what you have to consider. The demographic of the show. It's a fine line. Do you hire somebody to cater to your base, or do you hire somebody that you think your base will be okay with, but might actually get a few more people to watch? Like, can you think you can get a person under 50 to watch Wheel of Fortune?
So I had no idea that apparently the 2013 Michigan State fan thinks they could have won the national championship. I just sent Bud a text. I said, "What are these MSU fans thinking?" I never ever thought that once.
No.
They went to a Rose. That's the year they went to the Rose Bowl and won, right? Beat Stanford.
Right. They're trying to argue they would have played Florida State for the Natty that year
if they didn't lose to Notre Dame on a bad call. Oh my gosh. Someone says, show me Meghan Markle. God, that's funny. Oh.
So I got Apple Plus.
Okay.
Apparently I've had it.
Okay.
So I watched a few episodes of the morning show.
Good.
Well, if you like TV, it's, but it is interesting. Steve Carell gets fired. The show opens, Carell's getting fired. And it's Matt Lauer. Oh, it's not quite as,
right,
awful as the Matt Lauer story was, and so they're setting it up in which he's going to fight it.
Gotcha.
He's going to take on the Me Too movement. But I love the intrigue with the network and Jennifer Aniston, who they're trying to force out. And she's right at the end of a contract negotiation. And they're willing to give her an extension, but she's asking for a final say over who her partner was, and they won't give it. So she got this big award, and she goes up on stage, and she announces who her co-host is, her new co-host is. And the executives are sitting there.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Final segment of this Hump Day show. A reminder through July 4th. They've got a little promotion, little special, little deal going on. Spend $500 or more. Get a free pair of Bose glasses. And mention Miller and Moulton, get an additional 10% off. So there. Support Todd and Jason, our good friends at the Diamond District. Little special going on through the 4th of July. Now, yesterday, you said yesterday was the boringest day in the history of the world.
I will say June 28th is rivaling June 27th.
Okay.
Apparently, we did not want to do a whole lot at the end of June. We'd had enough. Summer was here. It was time to relax.
Say we're easing into the 4th of July weekend. Is that what you're saying? We have been for hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years. So let's see what June 28th has on June 27th.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
All right. The final draft of the Declaration of Independence is submitted to the Continental Congress today in 1776. If you remember, it was a few days ago that we finally got the 9th state to ratify it.
Right. Who was it? New Hampshire?
New Hampshire.
Who was it?
New Hampshire.
Right.
1894, Labor Day is established as a holiday for U.S. federal employees. Today in 1902, the U.S. buys the concession to build the Panama Canal from the French for $40 million. 1907, Branch Rickey, better front office guy than player, because today the Nationals steal 13 bases off of catcher Branch Rickey. Kind of a big day today in 1914, David. Franz Ferdinand was assassinated. It would only lead to the beginning of the First World War.
Correct. The war to end all wars. Huh. Talk about false advertising.
Boy, ain't that the truth. Today in 57, the Reds fans stuffed the ballot box, electing 8 Reds as all-star starters. Commissioner Frick overrules named Stan Musial, Willie Mays, and Hank Aaron to the team. Today in 1971, the Supreme Court overturns the draft conviction of Muhammad Ali 8-0. 1973, the Black Sports Hall of Fame forms. Elgin Baylor, Jesse Owens, Jim Brown, Wilma Rudolph, Paul Robeson, Joe Louis, and Athea Gibson all elected. 1975, Lee Trevino and his playing partners are struck by lightning at the Western Open. Bobby Nichols, one of those players. Today in 82, David, Prince Charles and Princess Di named their baby William.
Air.
Today in 94, the Florida Panthers selected Ed Jovanovski with the first pick of the draft. Today in 96, the Nutty Professor starring Eddie Murphy, the second Nutty Professor, opens in theaters across the country. The Portland Trail Blazers select Greg Oden with the first pick of the 07 draft today.
And there's no way Greg Oden's career could be similar to Sam Bowie's. There's no way the same franchise 30 years later or 25 years later would have the same fate befall them with a big fella. No way. It's not going to happen.
No. And the Pelicans select Anthony Davis with the first overall pick today in 2012. Gilda Radner would have been 77 today. Mel Brooks is 97 years old today.
That's awesome.
Others celebrating birthdays today, Kathy Bates, Don Baylor. I think he just got hit by a pitch. John Elway, Dre Schroeder, Jeff Malone, John Cusack, Bobby Hurley, Elon Musk, and Marvin Jones all celebrating birthdays today.
How old's Elon Musk?
52.
Really?
And that's all I got, David. What did I miss?
By the way, just do have to say Don Baylor did, unfortunately, the list is wrong. Okay, Don Baylor passed away.
I'm sorry.
About 6 years ago. But yes, today he would have been 74 today.
And he would have gotten hit by a pitch.
Yeah, there's no doubt. He's upstairs. Him and Ron Hunt are talking about it.
Leaning into one. Get the base.
There's no question. So here's what I got. All right. First off, the bald eagle was removed from the list of threatened species today 16 years ago. Usually once you get on that list, we never do enough to get you off the list. But we did. But listen, 26 years ago today, do you remember where you were when Tyson bit Holyfield's ear?
Oh, I know exactly where I was. I was in Raleigh, North Carolina. Had Holyfield in 3 in the pool. Won the pool.
Wow. Yep, Tyson bit his ear. 26 years ago today. Yep. That's a crazy night. Didn't you have the guy on the parachute fly into the ring? And right. It was also weird, too, because the first 3 rounds were entertaining. In fact, didn't Tyson have a really good third round? Because this was the rematch. Their first fight, by the way, was really good. It's the only time I've ever heard Tyson post-fight, be very complimentary of his opponent. Holyfield beat him. And he showed up and he, shook his hand in front of everybody and said, man, that was a good fight. We just went after each other and he beat me. I was like, huh. But yeah, Tyson lost it. So that's what I got.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to Cincinnati, where Kimmy Watkins woke up not feeling well to find her Apple Watch beeping loudly. It recorded a resting heart rate of 178 beats per minute. She went to the doctor the next day, and they diagnosed her with an embolism. And basically, her Apple Watch saved her life. If that's not a ringing endorsement for the Apple Watch, I don't know what is. For the bad, we go to California, where a 69-year-old woman was in her car enjoying a snack when a car pulled up behind her and a driver walked up to her, reached inside the vehicle and grabbed her purse. Inside her purse were her pricey Gucci prescription sunglasses. She was not going to give up without a fight. She jumped out of her Mustang and tried to prevent the thief from driving away. The car dragged her several feet down the road before she fell out. And of course, the tough lady says, I'd do it all over again.
Of course.
Got to get those Gucci sunglasses. Finally, the ugly, we go to New Jersey, where a homeowner in Killian, New Jersey.
Killian, yeah.
Killian, okay. Illegally cut down 32 large trees, clearing the view on a property that real estate listings boast an ideal location to watch the sunrise light up the New York City skyline like gold. Problem was, none of the trees were on his property. They were on his neighbor's property. And it looks as if the fine is $1,000 per tree. No big deal. But according to the tree removal ordinance in the town, requires anyone who illegally removes a tree to replace it with another of like or superior species. They've been quoted $1.5 million to have the trees replaced. Good luck on that real estate sale, sir.
Yeah, really.
And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, June the 28th, 2023.
Well, we got two things. We got Major League Baseball. Everybody's playing. 2 games in the afternoon. Glorified mighty nooner in Atlanta, Mark. Twins and Braves. Braves have won 6 straight at home. I got some guy making his first start of the year. I don't know if it's his first ever start. Colby Allard. His first appearance of the year. Going up against Kenta Maeda, who's been lousy this year for the Twins. Braves looking for the sweep. Marlins in Boston. They're slight favorites tonight. Braxton Garrett pitching for them. He's been good. And Rays, they're sending Zach Eflin to the hill against Zach Davies. That's not very often. A couple of Zachs as your starting pitchers. How often's that ever happened in Major League history? But Zach Davies is, for the Diamondbacks, is 1-4 with an ERA of nearly 8. So Zach Eflin tonight, Rays are minus 155. Trying to kind of put it together here. They're like a game below 500 in their last 15 games. So time to start winning again. Just saying.
Yeah, you're right. They've been basically a 500 club here for about 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. So come on, time to snap out of it, guys. That's enough. Let's go. NHL drafts tonight. Could have a local player.
Is going to be the first player taken, but stick around for the end of the first round. Gavin Brindley very well could be taken in the last part of the first round. Gavin Brindley grew up right here. Played his hockey at Hertz Arena. His dad played for the Everblades. Was a good player at the minor league level. Played a little bit in the AHL. Ryan Brindley. But Gavin Brindley very well could be a late first round selection. Not bad.
I've seen mocks where he goes in the 20s. I saw a mock where he was the final pick of the first round, went to Vegas. Kevin Weeks did his mock last night, and he did not have Brindley going in the first round. He's an undersized center, but he's skilled. This is a quirky, I've heard this draft, Mark, described as quirky because there are very few good defensemen. And so going to be, the opinions of centers and wingers can vary from organization to organization. So they think this could be a pretty volatile where guys go draft. I'm kind of hoping the Rangers take Brindley. They need a defenseman. There's not really one for them to take, but also they're weak down the middle as an organization. They need centermen.
Worry about his size.
Yeah.
Watched him play in the Frozen Four. Not the biggest guy out there.
What's he, like 5'10"?
Yeah.
How important is that anymore, do you think? Although Vegas just won the cup and they were huge.
Well,
everywhere.
Everywhere. I think size matters, David. Always has, always will. But fired up to see someone. I mean, I've obviously watched this whole hockey program start from its infancy at both the Everblades level, but at the youth level as well. To see someone who played their youth hockey at Hertz Arena get taken in the first round after Seamus got taken in the second round last year. You know, multiple players are playing pro hockey that played their hockey here at Hertz Arena. It's remarkable, the job that they've done over there.
Hope he can be a first-round pick. It's going to be close. I think the earliest I've seen him take in is like 22nd. So, but the likelihood is if he goes in like the last 6 picks of the first round. 32 teams in the NHL.
Yeah, I've seen mock drafts where people trade back up into the first round to get him. Is kind of how I've seen it in the past week. So we'll see. But Gavin Brindley is the name.
Well, and we were encouraged because the NHL invited him. You know, they said, hey, would you mind attending the draft? Now, you know, they also want some people in the stands for the second round, but usually you invite people that you think have a better than you know what chance of getting traded in the first round. Nashville, right?
Yeah. And by the way, I don't know who did Kevin Weeks' draft, but my guess is Kevin Weeks had nothing to do with his own mock draft. I mean, come on. Unless he's taking the Central Scouting Bureau's list and he's just going to write down the order that he wants it. You cover the NHL for a living. You can't cover the draft and the league. You can't do it.
I agree. My guess is yes. He's got somebody who does 80% of it, and then he talks to his contacts and sees, you know,
what order he's going to switch a few guys around in.
He is connected, though.
No, it's not a knock on Kevin. It's
right.
When you're a lead analyst of a league, it's pretty tough to cover juniors as well as you cover the league that you're paid to cover. That's
right.
all.
Right. You know, what's his face? Woj is not Jeff Van Gundy. Right. You've got an analyst, and then you got the information guy. He's an analyst.
Miller and Moulton. Have a great rest of your day. We'll do it all over again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
Visit Jason and Todd